How we doing, boys and girls? Good morning. Coffee. Yes, coffee. How are we all doing, boys and girls? Good morning. Welcome in. It's time. What are these crafting order changes? Somebody tells me there's crafting order changes. We can maybe turn down the club bangers first thing this morning. Hope everybody's well. Hope everybody's doing okay. Almost the weekend. Right, let's switch this over. Let's get a little bit of Dragonflight. Oh, updates. Okay, updates. How are we all doing though, boys and girls? Are we well? Has anybody got a link to these patch notes then? What's changed? Somebody's got to tell me the answers, right? I hear a rumour that crafting orders have been fixed. Maybe, who knows? We're hyping. There we go. Eliath coming through with the patch notes. Thank you very much. Let's take a little bit of a looky. Let's take a little bit of a looky then, shall we? While we let the game update in the background. Let's grab that. Let's throw that in here. Oh my lord, too many Google Chrome tabs. Too many tabs. Right, what do we got then? Changes to crafting orders on Dragonflight Beta. Customer provides basic reagents. This was one of my initial suggestions, as it simply just removes a variable, right? There was too many variables for public orders. Not that people are stupid. Some people took great offence when I claimed that public orders were too complex. What they didn't understand was I wasn't shooting their intelligence down. I was merely stating that with so many different variables, it became incredibly just tedious to work with. Too many tabs. I've got two browsers with double the amount of open tabs. Well, I have multiple different windows open with just god-awful amount of tabs in each one. So much so that I was looking at PC upgrades yesterday. I was looking at what do I potentially do about a PC upgrade. Now, it's kind of annoying that Black Friday is not too far away. But Black Friday turns up, what is it, like 2 days before Dragonflight launch? If I wait till Black Friday to potentially try and snag, or should I say Cyber Monday, more realistically, to try and snag a deal on some PC components, am I going to run the risk of screwing over my Dragonflight launch schedule because of having PC issues? I don't think that's a sensible idea. But so I was looking at PC components, and I was toying up the ideas. Do I buy something last generation because it's a bit cheaper now? Or do I just go, fuck it, it's a business expense, and just buy one of the brand new setups? I don't know. 1111 has some deals sometimes. Isn't that that's a thing that's come from China, right? Isn't that like friendship day? No, what is that? That's a day where people buy some shit for themselves because they can. Singles Day, that's the one. That's the one I was looking for. Well, yeah, 11th of the 11th is technically Remembrance Day, but Singles Day is the holiday that I was talking about. Why is it necessary for me to upgrade right now? Because my computer is dying. Slowly but surely dying. You guys don't see the damage that's happening. But on my end, it's tragic. Remembrance Day bargains, don't give them ideas. Oh, Lord. Dragonflight might be your best business opportunity ever. I would invest. It is deductible after all. Well, true, true. I run the risk of either spending a bunch of money or giving a bunch of money to the tax man, so there's that. I went for 5800X and a 3080 as an upgrade a couple of months ago. See, I'm alright. My graphics card is fine. WoW's not super graphic intense. I don't need 500 FPS in some first-person shoot 'em up. If I can maintain a solid 60, I'm good. It's just the fact that everything else runs slow because my CPU is old as hell now. I buy stuff for myself anytime I want, as long as the wife doesn't know about it. Well, that is also a that is also a smart way of doing it. What the wife doesn't know can't hurt her, right? Maybe close some of the million tabs. Well, that's what I was getting to. I run on 32 gig of RAM right now, and I'm seriously considering updating to a new setup, going DDR5 and going 64 gig of RAM. Why? Because I can. If you're going to do an upgrade and you're going to keep that same machine for the next 4 or 5 years, you might as well just go balls to the wall. Old CPU. I went from a 3800X to a 5900X, but I regret updating. See, your opinion I trust, because you're in the know with this. Not that I don't trust the rest of you. Relax, everybody, calm down. But this comes from somebody who's tech savvy enough, and I know that they probably speak some truths. Eliath, relax. It's fine. My husband's a carpenter. He buys drill bits for steel drilling just because it says DeWalt on the side of it. Man's got to have his hobbies. Well, that's true. That's true. My hobby is streaming to you guys and playing silly games online. I call it a hobby still, but I treat it as a hobby, even though it is technically what I do for a living nowadays, which is an odd statement to say. Summer 21 bought a pre-built with a 3060 Ti. See, I've got a 3060 Ti. That's the graphics card that I have right now. And it does its job fine. I don't think I'll have any desire to upgrade my graphics card until maybe the 4070. And only if the 4070 is like 400-500 euros. I upgraded because it was like a 30 euro difference, but it's not made much of a difference. And my AIO can't even cool the beast anyway, idling at 70 to 80 degrees. See, that's one of the things I'm concerned about. My CPU runs really cool right now. Really cool. It's a 6700K. It's old as all hell, but it runs cool as a cucumber on air cooling. Nothing fancy. Cool as a cucumber, not wasting any electricities. But it equally is starting to be a bit slow. Cheerful Prophet with the tier 1, thank you very much. Why did the alerts not go off? Why was there no alerts? I guess it's because I'm in side-by-side mode. That could be why. I apologise for there being no alerts. Cheerful Prophet, thank you very much, my man. Appreciate it. It's what I upgraded from. Yeah. It's done me well. It's done me well. It's just now really starting to show its age. Considering going custom loop again for the next build, but then swapping parts to troubleshoot becomes a right pain. It's the only reason I've steered clear of water cooling. I just can't. I just can't. Even AIOs I'm not particularly a fan of, because I hear more people just have more issues with AIOs than they solve. A solid air cooling setup is fine, unless you have one of these monsters that just burns electricity and generates so much heat you've got to cool it somehow. Oh my lord, here we go. What's going on? Edward Norton's gifting 5 subs. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Hey, look at that! There's some funky names going on in there. If you got yourself a gifted sub, please remember to thank Mr. Norton. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. I should switch over to we should switch over to this one, shouldn't we? This way,
Let's
the
make
alerts,
sweet
the alerts
profit
might go off.
together.
There we go. There we go. Appreciate it, my man. Thank you very much.
Let's make sweet
Should we actually pay attention to what's going on, though? Should we actually pay attention to what we're trying to do here? Some crafting order changes. I'm just letting the caffeine kick in this morning. That's all I'm trying to do.
Is that your wallet? Or are you just glad to see me? Both, I hope.
That's going to go off a few times now. So, crafting orders then. Let's get this back on track a touch. Let's get this back on track. What's going on with crafting orders then? Customer providing basic reagents. This was a suggestion that I put forward a long time ago, simply for the reason that it removes a variable. It removes one of the complexity points of the public order system. And it's more, what's the word I'm looking for? Transparent. It's more transparent for the customer. It's more transparent for the crafter, what things are costing. Because if somebody goes to place an order, they need all of the materials. They can go to the auction house. Presumably, I'll be intrigued to see if they've done any UI upgrades to tweak how easy it is for people to actually buy the materials they're clearly going to need to buy. But it's more transparent, right? Take away the complexity of materials. It means it's just all about the commission now, right? It's going to be all about the commission. That's going to be where we sit. So, what have Blizzard got? Oh, can I view the original one? As much as I like Wowhead, I do prefer to read it from the horse's mouth, as they say. So, we've been closely following all your feedback here, and we've been playtesting and iterating on the system. As a result, we've developed some changes to the crafting orders. For public crafting orders, let's make sure we pay attention that this is for public orders. The customer will now have to provide all basic reagents. This is good. This presumably means then that when we get to private and guild, it's a different story. Otherwise, they wouldn't have specified specifically for public. Hang on. You know what we can do for this? I think we're going to change the tunes this morning. I like my party tunes on a Friday. It's nearly the weekend. But we need something a little bit more chill for while we do some reading and do some thinking. Let's switch back over to some synthwave, some chill. Keep it relaxed. It's quite quiet, isn't it? You guys probably can't hear that all too well, unless you've got headphones on. Okay. Switched from a 3080 Vision to a 3080 TUF last week because I wanted a switch up of looks. I guess not many people just have 20 GPUs lying around, though. I guess most people don't. Right, so public orders then. The optional reagents that previously could be provided by either party, such as missives, are unchanged. This feels really odd to me. Why would... This just seems like a hostage negotiations setup, right? This seems like you find a public work order, you accept the public work order, you whisper the person who placed the order, you tell them that unless they give you an extra 5,000 gold, you're going to fill the work order, and you're going to fill the work order with their worst secondary stats. Unless they give you an extra 5,000 gold. You know, it just seems like a hostage situation. What if somebody wants very specific secondary stats, let them specify the secondary stats. If they don't specify the secondary stats, don't let crafters randomly use missives. Not that you would randomly, but like I said, the only way you'd do it is for nefarious means. It seems very odd. This does not change or affect guild or private orders. This is crucial though. This is really important that, you know, it allows for guild and private orders. This is what I really stressed a few days ago. I stressed this a few days ago that in which one? This one. Dragonflight Big Changes video. I need to change that thumbnail and title now. I put forward in this video that one of the paths to victory is to make public orders really simple and easy, and then allow full 100% customization in the public order system. And I think that's a good move. Let public orders be basic. You know, provide all of the... If you want the thing, you can have the thing, but you need to give me all the materials and then a commission, and somebody just presses a button, right? You just spam press the button, and hopefully you do it for the purpose. You know, you'll accept a 0 commission. 1 gold commissions will be a thing. Now, there is a downside to this. There's a downside to this that public work orders will not make anybody any gold at all ever. That is the initial downside of this. We'll talk about, you know, the repercussions of these changes a little bit when we get in game. This is to help streamline the process of deciding on a commission for the customer. Yeah, it's streamlined through the process through virtue of removing some of the variables, right? If you know that every single order that comes through has all of the materials and all you need to do is be able to make that thing and press a button, then that's what will happen. But there is a slight but here, and the but here is because you are not specifying quality on a public order, commissions will be 1 gold. There'll be no commission on anything. No commission on anything. You will make gold via private orders, guild orders, maybe not even so much on guild orders because guild members tend to be pretty stingy. Public orders will be where the gold is made via this order system. Let me clarify. You will actually make your gold back on the auction house. You're not going to make gold with this system at all anyway. But this does mean that the public orders is a much simpler scenario. People can get their gear if they get all the materials they need for that piece of gear. Boom, job done. Crafters could add missives to build reputation, maybe, but I could agree it could also be a hostage situation. In theory, you could whisper them and be like, just wanted to ask, what is your preferred secondary stats? Maybe, but it's a costly way of doing business. Let's put it that way. On the other hand, crafters now don't have to pay by providing the mats to fill a work order for leveling up their profession. Yeah, this is it, right? This is it. That's the... It's going to mean that the public work order system will be for just that. You'll use it to just press the button to get your skill points. I'd also like to point out at this moment, somebody said, and I would like to try and test this somehow at some point, that the 30 work order limit, public work order limit, seems to be a charge-based system again. It doesn't necessarily seem to mean 30 per day. I can't remember who it was, so I can't quote them on this, so I apologize, but somebody posted in the Discord, I think it was yesterday, that they used all of their 30 public work orders one day, logged on the next day, they only had 10. So it seems that there could be some sort of charge system in place. It's not just a straight up 30 per day. It might be you gain 10 work orders a day and they stack for a total of 3 days. Oh, I guess we'll find out. But it will pretty much be a way of just, you press the button and you make something for somebody. to gain a skill point. Look who we have here. I guess I need to delete my pre-written YouTube complaint. Look, man. We should look, relax. Yes, those YouTube dollars are pretty significant right now in comparison to what they usually are. So hence why my focus is over there. Intermediates will fly off the shelf even faster now when the customer needs to provide them. Yeah, this is also where I think the way the system should be. In the very early days of seeing the crafting order system, one of my first indications was that this is not going to be a money-making system. This is a convenience system. It's convenient for crafters to fill orders. It's convenient for people to get the gear that they want. Nothing about the crafting order system is about making gold. It's about, it's connecting the two players together, at least in a basic way. You ain't never going to make millions of gold off the crafting order system, not unless you are doing something over and above. The over and above is the, rep building, getting your name out there as a crafter that's good at something. It's the pumping public orders, getting involved with those top guilds on your realm and saying, hey, look, I have like 12 alts with all of the professions. Whisper me what you need and then I'll, send a public order through. Better still, invite me to the guild, and that's where the gold could potentially be made from this system. But for General Joe, for average goblin, right? Average goblin makes his gold on the auction house still. That's not changing. That was never going to change. The auction house is still the place where you make money. Why? Because we get to decide what we sell things for. The second you take that ability away from a goblin, everything goes to zero profit almost instantly. So the crafting order system was all about, convenience. And this is why my push for over the last week or so has been very heavily on making it an easy system to use. Because that's the, on the whiteboard in the Blizzard HQ, I would imagine that that's why they wanted a system like this in the first place. To make it easy for people to get access to the crafted gear. Because for whatever reason, the auction house has gained itself a bit of a bad reputation because of Shadowlands. So, what add-on do I use to track gold across different characters? I don't. I mean, Tradeschool Master does a reasonable job of tracking it, but outside of that, I don't do anything specifically to track it. Crafting orders also give achievements, which gives knowledge. Yes, potentially. There are some achievements that have popped up that might be sought after. Tis all good, just giving you crap. Any Mantheus is better than no Mantheus. Oh, I know, I'm jesting. Don't worry, don't worry. So then, they're looking to streamline the public order system, which is great. One of the things that I was really keen for them to hopefully do, and it appears that somebody's listening, maybe. I think making all of the basic reagents required for public order is good. Like I said, I have to preface this. It's good for the game in general. It's good for the purpose of getting crafted gear into the hands of people who want it. It's not strictly good from a goal-making perspective, but ultimately, that's less important. It should be a good. If they're going to put a system in the game, it needs to be good, not gameable. When a customer places an order, then there will be a track recipe checkbox in the right of the reagents that tracks the recipe for them to easily see what reagents they need in order to assist in gathering reagents to place the order. Okay. Yeah, this is clearly needed. It blows my mind that there's not just an auction character standing right next to it. It baffles me that it's not all one interface. Why do you not go to the auction house? And why is it not just another tab? Like, why is place an order not just another tab in the auction house? I'm still a little bit confused to why they clearly seem to want to differentiate between the two. And the way that they're clearly saying that these are different systems is by physically moving them into different locations. But, you know, to sell that message, it comes at the cost of convenience again. It means that if you are missing reagents, you have to tick a box, you have to track the recipe, then you got to run your ass over to the auction house, or, you know, or maybe log on to an alt. I wonder if tracking recipes is... I bet track recipes not maintained between characters either, is it? So if you have those materials on an alt, and you suspect that you have them on an alt, if you log off that character and log onto the alt, I bet that track recipe thing will disappear again. This is a halfway solution to a problem that I think could be far easily fixed by just putting an auction house NPC right next to it. You know, you have the auction house open here. You have your order here. Heck, why do they not build it in to the same interface? Like I said, one of my suggestions was you just press the material and it opens up the auction listings for it. Why can that not be a thing? Why do you feel the need to make people run around and track recipes? I'm not entirely sure. But this is a step in the right direction. Credit where credit's due. At least you're not writing things down on a notepad specifically. But I wonder if it's because they're scared that the work orders are going to be crap, so they don't want to take it into the next expansion, so they don't want to add the code into the original auction house. I don't think they think that far ahead, if I'm honest. Yeah, not entirely sure. Whoa, achievements reward knowledge. There is a couple of achievements for like fulfilling like 500 orders or something that give you a bunch of knowledge. At the end of the day, it is an RPG, so running from one place to another is a thing. True. The work order place will end up being surrounded by long boys and mollies and Katie stamp whistles. Well, hopefully that'll be what we can hope for, at least. I did even say in my video that, like, you know, I went to search for the auction house and I was like, "There's no long boy. Where's the long boy?" There's always a long boy. Okay, but this is good. At least we can track it in some way, shape, or form in game. It's a step in the right direction. This will not show for recrafting orders. Okay. I'm still of the belief that the recrafting orders need well, maybe we'll get to that, but I think that recrafting orders need a lot of work. If there are any public orders posted for the recipe that you're placing an order for, the commission field should autofill to match the highest commission's existing order plus 1 silver. Okay. Okay. This is see, this is an odd one, right? This is an odd one. This is the definition of wishful thinking. See, this sounds, when you read this on paper, or you see this here, this is like, oh great, okay, so they're going to suggest ever increasing commissions based upon how many outstanding orders there are. There isn't going to be any outstanding orders. There is very, very unlikely to ever be outstanding orders. Very, very unlikely to ever be outstanding orders. Because of this. When every single order that comes in is complete, and the only requirement is pressing, yep, I'll make that, and then pressing craft, and then pressing complete. You press 3 buttons and it's complete. You're not going to have outstanding orders. The only way you'd have outstanding orders is if the quantity of work orders coming in exceeds that of the limit that the crafters on your realm have the ability to make because of the work order limit. That, again, I don't think is going to happen. You're saying that for every single person that engages with crafting, which let's not forget is being pushed onto most players, Crafters is not just a subset of the community anymore. Everybody's going to have some interest in crafting in some way, shape, or form. That there's going to be 10 times as many orders, even if there's only 10. Even if you can only fill 10 orders a day, you're telling me there's going to be over 10 times the amount of orders placed than there are crafters at any given point? I don't think so. I don't think so. It's good, but it's reliant on the fact of there being outstanding orders, which I don't think there will be. But that's one of those things that we absolutely don't know until it happens. But at least it does mean that for when there is an outstanding order, that, you know, people are told that the best way to get your order filled is to pay more than the next person that's waiting in the queue. Makes sense, right? It makes sense. It's logical. Recrafting orders are now limited to personal and guild orders only. We hope to re-add public recrafting orders in a later patch. Wow, okay. This is primarily to protect customers from having their crafts inadvertently lowered in quality. Okay. Yeah, okay, that says a lot. That says a lot. I've for a while now, I've been a little bit confused to what Blizzard's goal was for recrafting. Because it could be two different things, right? You would make the assumption that recrafting is designed so that the emphasis is just get players their gear. Get players their gear really quickly. And that sort of rings true because they're making public orders really simplistic, right? Super simplistic. You give somebody all of the materials, a crafter comes along, and after the press of 3 buttons, let's not forget, accept order, craft, send order. 3 buttons, done, right? It means that orders can get filled very, very quickly, very, very effectively. That gets the gear in the hands of players really quickly. Tick. The argument then becomes is once that player has got the piece of gear, regardless to the quality of the gear that was made, they have the choice in the future to then have it recrafted to either push its quality up or to add on a primal infusion or add on a concentrated primal infusion or to have it recrafted to have the secondary stats adjusted if they wish, this sort of thing. It's meant that recrafting feels like one of those things that you get the piece of gear and then you recraft it a few times over the next coming few months until eventually you end up with that drop that you get from the Mythic Raid that's just better than this one in every way, shape or form, and then you switch it out. Having recrafting going public and guild only only goes to reiterate my point that you are not going to make any gold from the regular public order system. People who care about getting the best quality gear will use the public order system to get the item, and then they'll start looking for somebody to recraft it to the level that they actually want it at. To build on this a little bit, I was doing some research over the last few days about how easy is it for people to start making quality 4, quality 5, you know, this top tier gear? And it's becoming increasingly apparent to me that top quality, so quality 5 mythic crafted gear is for the 1% only. Simply because there's actually a hard capped limit by the looks of things to how many can even exist. Crafters are never going to readily and continuously be able to craft this quality 5 mythic gear. Because the only way you can make quality 5 mythic crafted gear in most cases is by the crafter themselves using artisan's metal to make it. Now every single crafter is going to have a limited quantity of artisan's metal. So they may only be able to, best case scenario, make 3 or 4 pieces of top quality gear a week. I know this is very difficult to grasp without me showing you on screen. I'll try and put this together in better format at some point, but that's where you'll make your gold, right? That's where you'll make your gold. You'll get those public order. People will use the public order system just to get the gear, and then they'll find a crafter that's capable. They'll find somebody in their guild that has the ability to increase the quality of that item, and they'll send them a recrafting order. That will be what you'll see spamming trade chat, right? Spamming trade chat will be recrafting X, Y, or Z item, and then the quality that they can recraft it to, and then how much they're charging to do it. That's what you'll get spamming trade chat. Could I place a public order on my Twink with a 100k commission, and then all other autofill commissions for this item would be 100,001? Well, yeah, but you run the risk of paying 100,000 gold to somebody else if they come along and fill that order. Because to place that order, you would need to provide all of the materials for that order. That could end up being a very costly mistake. If somebody comes along and is like, oh, somebody wants to pay 100k to have this thing made. Boop, 3 button presses, you've just given them 100k. Yeah, very, very risky approach. Week 5 to 6 only available for crafted epic quality 5s. Quality 5s are going to be either something for the super rich or the super 1%. Average Joes are not, even if you mythic raid, I'm telling you now, even if you're a mythic raider, the likelihood of you getting many pieces of mythic crafted gear at quality 5, so 418, most people's crafted gear will cap out at 416. Not many people are going to get 418 bits of gear. %1 won't even want it, since mythic crafted gear is only the item level of the first 3 bosses, so the lowest tier by far of the item. Well, this is also another thing, right? That the 418 bits of crafted gear still are only competitive for about half of mythic raiding. Once people have got once people have got it on farm, 418 will start to be less than the desirable. To all the beta testers, those 4 faction events, do they unlock at 70, or how do I start them? I don't know what you refer to with the 4 faction events is. The embellished piece is Abyss. You will always wear 2 because embellished adds close to 1,000 stats. Well, that's probably going to be then where the recrafting will kick into gear, right? People will get the items, and then they'll choose which 2 pieces of crafted gear they then embellish to push it into BIS status, if that's the case. The hunt, the feast, the siege, and the bounties. Oh, that sort of stuff, it's usually locked behind renown. Like 4 or 5 renown, usually you start picking that up. Oh, hang on. The wife is calling. Please hold, boys and girls. Please hold. Right, sorry about that. You know, when the wife calls, you have to answer. It's one of those unwritten rules in life where if you don't do it, you risk not waking up the next day. So, where do we get to? Okay, recrafting orders are limited to personal guild only. Makes sense to me. Assert dominance, fart in the phone. Wow, that's the opinion of a single man. I can. All right, sure. We hope to re-add public recrafting orders in a later patch. Why? Why would you hope to re-add public orders in a later patch? Why would you hope to re-add them in a later patch? Is the game so detrimental without them? Why? Unless what's coming in an upcoming patch would Who knows? Okay, you could read into that as much as you like. It doesn't matter. This is primarily to protect customers from having their crafts inadvertently lowered in quality. This makes sense, right? They clearly something about the entire system. Something about the entire system, and this leads into my theory. Something about the entire system is that they really don't want people to be able to specify quality on public orders. And let me tell you why. There's a real simple why. They do not want, and they're clearly going very far out of their way to make sure this is the case. They clearly don't want people to specify quality on public orders because it does two things. It means that you'd be an absolute moron to request anything other than quality 5. Why, when you get, when there is no, when you have to provide materials. This is a slight downside of providing all the materials, I might add. When you provide all of the materials, why would you not then at the same time want somebody to come along and make them at quality 5? The reality would be very, very quickly that every single public order would then just request quality 5. Because why would you not? The only reason you might not is because there's not enough crafters out there that can make them at quality 5, and your order isn't getting filled and you're having to increase your commission. But that's super not going to happen on public orders. And I'm glad Blizzard seemed to understand that. It secondly, as has just been pointed out in the chat, it secondly basically makes recrafting a dead system before it's dead on arrival, right? Because if you get your piece of gear at quality 5 to begin with, your reason for recrafting it becomes very slim. Your reason for recrafting it then would be changing the secondary stats or upping its item level using a primal infusion. They're the only two scenarios there where recrafting would be useful. What they want is recrafting to also be useful for people to push the quality of their gear up. What will likely happen, if I explain the timeline a little bit more, this might make more sense. The timeline for this is probably going to be that on a week-by-week basis, crafters will be able to gain enough skill to, on a weekly basis, probably push 1 quality level. So, in week 1, crafters will probably get recipes, whether it be through specializing to get the recipes or whether it will be via rep grinds to get recipes. Crafters will start getting the recipes week 1. Their base level skill, though, is still going to be dog shit at this point. They're not going to be skilled enough to be making top quality crafted gear at the beginning. They'll have the recipe, they'll be able to fill work orders, they'll fill work orders to gain those skill points, and by gaining those skill points, that will mean that they can push into quality 2, quality 3 maybe. But it'll be on a week-by-week basis where they might be able to produce something more. The wife is calling. Apologies, please hold. Right then, boys and girls. I think we might be good. I think we might be good. Hopefully. Let's keep my fingers crossed. Sorry about that, boys and girls. I've just done possibly one of the most stupid things you could ever do. I've just sold my house, so now this is probably, I can probably tell you guys to why my schedule has been so wackadoodle recently. We're moving house, which obviously when you own a property is not necessarily the most straightforward thing, because it means I have to sell this one to buy a new one. Paperwork up the fucking wazoo. So your Manthius is officially homeless right now. Because we've done it backwards. We've done it backwards because we're stupid. But hey, anyway. Was there a spider in the car? No, a lot worse than a spider in a car. Not to mention doing all of this just before Dragonflight launches is dumb level stupid, but hey, what are you gonna do? Hopefully with a proper streaming room with air conditioning. Yes, this is one of the big reasons why we chose to move, because our house currently does no longer serve our purposes. It was great for whilst neither of us were working at home, but now both of us work from home. It's a bit small. So Starbucks has Wi-Fi. Well, we might need it. Might need it for sure. Grats, your cash graft must have increased by a ton. No, in the opposite direction. The house we bought was, when you buy a bigger houses usually cost more. So you're not the only one with stupid decisions. I bought a house and now I'm moving out exactly 1 year later. You're also moving to another country, if I understand correct. That's double level crazy. Buying a house with Blizzard tokens. If only. But anyway, should we try and get back to what we're doing? Hopefully I won't have too many inadvertent phone calls. If estate agents or solicitors or wives end up calling, I'll have to answer them, but we'll keep going. Right, so where did we get to? We got to recrafting orders, right? Recrafting orders now being guild and personal only. I don't see any reason why they would ever need to make them public. Sure, okay. Will you stay in Finland? Oh yeah, we're still staying in Finland, yeah. So items with a different item level for each quality now display a plus next to their item level in the customer's list of recipes that they can place an order for. Mousing over the item level will display a tooltip with the item level at each quality, as well as a disclaimer about optional reagents. Okay, I'm going to be keen to see how this actually plays out. This was one of my big gripes, was that it wasn't very intuitive what you were even ordering. There was no way to sort of say, okay, well, what happens if what if I want a mythic quality one? How do I do that? What button do I press? Hopefully this will give some more indications to what's going on. When the customer is viewing an order, including placing an order and looking at existing completed orders, there'll be a button in the top right near the recipe name to favorite that recipe. Hang on, what? When a customer is viewing an order, when a customer is placing an order, I guess, includes placing an order and looking at existing ones, there'll be a button on the top right near the recipe name to favorite that recipe. I guess this means that when you're closing the auction, so when you do when you realize you're missing materials and you close down the interface to then go to the auction house to buy materials, when you come back, you'd be like, oh shit, what was it? What was the name of the thing I was ordering? what was it that I wanted? Now I suppose you can favorite it to make sure that you can easily and quickly get back to it. Sure. We currently have a known issue. A bug. It's very rare that they publicly tell people about bugs. If reagents are supplied for crafting orders, and the reagents are in 2 separate item stacks in the player's inventory, the crafting order can sometimes fail to be created or fulfilled. Oh, Lord. Oh, Lord. Okay. Oh, Lord. I wonder then how that is. I wonder how it's reserving materials then. It's okay, sure. Seems like a lot of the criticisms, constructive feedback you gave on streams and in videos has been addressed here. That's good. It wasn't just me. I mean, I was probably one of the more publicly outspoken people about it. But if you've kept your eyes on the forums, there's also a lot of people that are chipping in with very similar suggestions in the forums. I would obviously love it if Blizzard devs are watching this and are at least listening. I don't expect them to pay attention, but if they're at least listening, that helps. I hope they'll add the possibility to buy and directly fill the work order with materials from the work order UI. You see, that seems to be the logical next step for me, but that there seems to be a very deliberate reason. A very deliberate reason to why they want to separate the 2 systems. I can't strictly work out why that could be the case, but they very clearly want the crafting order system to be seen as different from the auction house. They don't want crafting orders to be considered an add-on to the auction house. They want people to view it as a completely separate system. And to emphasize that, they've totally different NPCs, totally different areas of the game. You know, I think they're really pushing that it's a separate system. It's not a bolt-on to the auction house. Now, why that is, we don't know. I don't see why it would be detrimental to bake it into the auction house. Maybe it's a public perception thing. It's clear to me at this point in time that not many people are a fan, like especially after Shadowlands. Clearly, there are not many people that are a fan of the auction house. They just see, you know, the auction house just run by greedy goblins and everything's overpriced and it never works properly. And now it's all regional. You know, there's clearly some negative perception of the auction house at the moment, which they probably don't want to filter into the new crafting order system, but we'll see. Sent your video to them, so they might have seen it. Thank you, Zan. Appreciate it. The irony being is the one video of mine that got tagged with Blizzard quite frequently, actually on this very thread, is here. The most, you know, the way the forums work is that any link that's posted and clicked on multiple times ends up being tagged at the top of the post. If you go to feedback crafting orders, my video, the crafting orders of a terrible user experience is the most popular link in this whole article, which is the reason why I think maybe somebody at least had seen it. So I would have, you know, I would have much preferred that the one that got linked to them would have been the one where I actually provided constructive criticism, not the one where I deliberately showcased how bad of an experience it was to use.
But, closing parenthesis.
Gazul with the Prime Gaming for 3 months. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Welcome, welcome. Maybe the auction house code is old and bad, so it requires too much work at this moment to integrate work orders. I mean, that is also very possible. That is also very possible. It's clearly a case that it could just simply be that they don't, they built crafting orders from the ground up. They didn't want to, throw it in the pot of spaghetti that is the auction house, maybe.
Let's
Who
make
knows?
sweet
Unbound
profit
with the
together.
3 months as well. Thank you very much. How widespread is a work order? Realm specific by the looks of things. They clearly have the desire to make it region wide, but I don't think it'll happen. Not until they figure out other things. I think it's a flavor decision to separate the two. They want a hub for crafters where you can watch the busy work. And I don't think they really thought about the economic aspect too much until now. Yeah, we don't really know. Zan's also changed his profile picture. Cheers, my man. Now, should we see what people are saying about this before we take a little bit of a look at ourselves? Should we gauge the public opinion? In general, the changes above make sense, but you've missed the critical flaw of the system in customers being unable to specify minimum quality in public orders. If this is not addressed, you may as well scrap the public system now. See, there were clearly people on both sides of the fence about this. I've sort of touched on why I don't think having quality being specified in public orders is a good thing. But I equally understand it from the perspective of why people think it should. Let me put it this way: not being able to specify quality in a public order is a barrier to people using it, or at least it looks like it could be a barrier to people using it. The reality is that even the reality is that quality doesn't matter that much. At best, quality is a 10 item level difference. It doesn't matter that much. And this is what I tried to showcase the other day in one of my videos, that if you have a 330 item level piece of gear that you still have from leveling, putting in a work order for a 382 item level piece of gear is bonkers level crazy high of an upgrade for you. Quality only really starts to play a part when you get into that stage of min-maxing. But you don't really worry too much about min-maxing until you at least have a base set of gear in place. And the public order system will allow people to get that base level of gear in place. 10 item levels is a considerable difference, though. It is at the top end. But you got to get to the top end first. You know, this is the thing. The crafting system and the public order system is designed to let people fill the gaps in their gear. And it's designed to allow them to fill the gaps in their gear quickly and easily. There is nothing saying that if you put in a public order and what gets made for you is quality 1, that's a bad thing. Sure, you would love it to be quality 5, but the likelihood is that you will just recraft at a later date if it matters that much. But having that quality 1 is still better than having nothing. And that's what most people, I don't think, have really noticed yet. And it's probably because it's hard to simulate progression on beta. When you get, free gear from vendors and all sorts of stuff going on because it's a testing environment. It's very difficult to see just how the game plays out. For people that have spent a lot of time on the leveling realms, you ding 70 at like item level 330. You ding 70 at some dog shit level, and then you can chip away. You could go and do your heroic dungeons. You could go do some world quests. It's going to be a week or so until the raid launches anyway. In that period of time, you might start to realize that actually this 382 piece of gear at quality 1 is still a massive upgrade to the green piece of shit that I've still got from leveling. And that's kind of that's where the work order system, for the public work order system, is designed. The min-maxing is your guild orders, your public orders. And that's where quality will then make a difference. I don't think quality makes that much difference. Not at the beginning, not where the public order system is going to be used. You're not going to use the public order system to min-max your gear. And that's, I think, very much by design. All base reagents now are required to be provided. It will be a very simple decision for the crafter. Make it if it gives a skill up or a significant fee, otherwise ignore. True. These are some good changes for the crafters, but not great changes for the buyer. First, the buyer should never feel like using the system could cost them. Well, you can't expect the gear for free, right? While I understand the posting fee is to minimize the number of orders, what is counter to what that is counter to what you want. There shouldn't be an artificial barrier in front of the buyer to a crafted item. They don't have one in the auction house. Why have one here? The charge should really be against the crafter. Crafters bear the burden of crafting and it taking the money. Are you mad? Are you now expecting all of this crafted gear to be free? Hello? Second, under the trade goods section, allow the buyer to order trade goods for professions they do not have. If I want to buy molten warglaives, there's no option to order primal molten alloy. I could buy it from the auction house, but if I'm willing to wait, then the crafting market should allow me to purchase that. No, because it's in the auction house, you donkey. What if I only want my guildie to make it? Better yet, if they could be linked together so that I just provide... You are absolutely bonkers crazy. I think there's something this player seriously doesn't understand about the system. Thirdly, I disagree that minimum quality should be in the public orders. I think having it only in private orders will help create the necessary friction to cause the player to search out for crafters with the skill to improve. Okay, so this bit, they've missed something. There's one piece of the puzzle missing here for this person for sure. Requiring the buyer to provide basically all of the reagent inherently makes this system more frustrating to engage with for buyers, as the average player will now be required to go to the crafting order NPC, track the reagents, then run back and forth to the auction house and mailbox to get the right number of things before returning to place their order. Well, yes, and this is why there was only two options in my mind for this. There was clearly only two options: either make it so that people have to provide everything, or they provide nothing. It needed to be one of the two for public orders. Either you provide everything, and then it's a simple scenario that, well, you just then offer a commission, and crafters can come along and be like, oh, okay, there's a commission, boom, fill. Or they provide nothing, and you let the orders stack up, and the orders stack up, and the price of those orders stack up until they reach a threshold where it's the crafting cost. But that's actually a worse situation for the buyer. Because the chance, Blizzard hates it. Now, you could argue whether this is for good or for bad. Blizzard hates failure. Blizzard hates it when players fail in the game. This is inherently because failing doesn't necessarily feel good. And when you're playing a video game, it's meant to feel good. Now, you could say that's snowflakes, that's pandering, but welcome to the gaming industry. They want to keep you feeling as if you're succeeding and you're succeeding and you're succeeding, because then you play the game more, right? If you provide nothing and you place an order and your commission is not high enough, that then becomes a chance to fail. And that chance to fail also comes at the cost of your time, which is a double no-no in the gaming industry, right? You don't want somebody to provide none of the materials and a mediocre tip for then only that order to not get filled. That is a terrible scenario in Blizzard's eyes, I feel. So this is why they went the option of make it so that people provide everything. It's a little bit more of a you've got to do a little bit more legwork to place an order. But I shit you not, you place an order and it will get filled by somebody. There's not going to be a scenario where public orders aren't filled anymore. Grinding that Crafter.io score, maybe. This is a little bit of friction front loaded at the cost of making it so that you practically can't fail with the public order system, and I think that's very much by design. There's lots of text there, Zan. I'll have a read of that in a little minute. Let me fire through this. As a solution to this, I would suggest trying the crafting order interface directly with the auction house. If we haven't filled all the required reagents, give us a checkbox labelled "Purchase remaining basic materials from the auction house," which when ticked will allow us to place the order, but provide a confirmation window for us first, informing that we need to buy this from the auction house and how much they will cost, with a total price including the commission at the bottom. It would then automatically purchase those reagents from the auction house on behalf of us and lock them directly into the crafting order. This is so much more difficult to code in the game. Now, I'm not giving Blizzard an out here, but this is so much more difficult to code in the game. And secondly, I don't think it actually goes to benefit anybody in any way, shape, or form. We already know that buying materials, you can click a material, type in the quantity that you want and press buy, and in the time it's taken you to do those three things, the market is completely changed because they're region-wide materials now. So actually coding this in the game would be an absolute living nightmare with materials being on the region-wide auction house. I get why it would be nice that you could just, press a button, buy outstanding materials, and it just sort of magically happen. But I don't think removing that small amount of friction is really worth the development time. If Blizzard had put work orders in the beta 3 months ago, then maybe this could be feasible. But as it stands at the moment, I just don't think it's worth the development time or the effort. It's only a requirement if they want to provide basic reagents. If they don't want to, they don't have to. I don't know what you mean. So is Valdrakken not fully implemented? Am I missing something? I tried to fill a public order, but it said not enough resources. This is because of that bug. Requiring the buyer to provide all the basic reagents inherently makes this system more frustrating to engage with. I think it's fine. In my opinion, it's not frustrating to provide the mats for powerful items you want to have. It's just a necessary process and much easier for both sides. Imagine the frustration for both sides when the crafter has to provide stuff and the tip for crafting just doesn't match the price of materials. The buyer should then have to calculate the expenses anyway. Yeah, look at it from the perspective of what happened in Shadowlands with legendaries, right? People would quite frequently whisper people who made a lot of legendaries. We'd receive those whispers and it would be like, can you make this for us? And even if we said, yes, we'll make it for you, you bring the mats. That player then has to go and get the materials that they need and bring them to us and then trade them to us. The public order system is just a zero communication way of doing that. Now players don't have to find somebody to make it for them initially if they don't want to. They can, at their leisure, pick up the materials that they need. Whether they choose to farm them, make them on alts, buy them from the auction house, that's their prerogative. Once they've got the list of reagents that they need to make the thing that they want, they can put the order in and then somebody will deal with it. And the likelihood now is that that thing will get dealt with pretty quickly and they'll have their item in the mailbox before they know it. Which is a smooth, simple improvement to what we have today. It's not perfect and it's not optimal, but that's where the personal order system and the guild order system, that's where you can do your full customization. Public orders are that nice middle ground. It's just a simple system for people to start connecting together, which is good. Okay, there's not many comments here. Should we have a little bit of a look at it ourselves in game? I think it's about time to have a little bit of a look in game. Let's load it up. Let's see if we can play around with this a little bit. So should we test this on the Valdrakken realms, or should we test this on the leveling realm? I'm intrigued to see what it looks like actually properly implemented. So let's jump over to this dude first. Isn't the best gold farming in WoW just to get a job IRL? Arguably, but I like to focus the content within the four walls of the video game. The crafted materials with Awakened are going to take so much gold out of the game. First a miner, herbalist, anybody sells it on the auction house, 1 times fee is taken to Blizzard. Then it's made into a special item for crafting and sold again. Then this is sent to the crafter with the work order. Triple the hit with a fee. Yeah. Yeah. It still won't take out anywhere near as much gold as Legendaries did, though. Delicious compounding taxes in game. You gotta love it, right? Right, let's go take a little bit of a looky at the work orders then. The only thing they implemented was crafting for somebody with their bind on pickup materials. There has to be a better system than than this work order system. It's still not perfect. I mean, you know, I do try and keep a critical mindset about this. It's still clearly not perfect, but what I really do feel that would have done everybody, it could have done everybody a favor, is if we had this to test, you know, 3 months ago. If we first saw this a long time ago, it would have given chance to sort of, you know, just test it more. Dragonflight is now in release candidate mode, meaning that it is unlikely from this point on to be any significant system changes. You might get a few tweaking, and you might get some tuning of numbers here and there, but for the most part, what we see on beta now is what the game is going to go live with. Anything significant will come in hot fixes and patches in the future now. That practically means that the entire crafting order system had 1 week. 1 week of public feedback. 1 week. You know, they implemented it. They had a week for some feedback, and now they've implemented some initial changes, and that's how it's going to go live. There's not much room for movement there. There's certainly no room for error. So what were some of the things? If we try and place a public order then, if I simulate, I'm going to use my same, I want my sophisticated problem solver. Okay, there's a little plus here now. 382 plus, that's a good start. That's a good start because it showcases that you can go 382, 384, 386, 389, and then 392. What it doesn't do, though, still, is showcase the fact that actually that goes all the way up to 400 and... Yeah, that goes all the way up to 418, technically. Public order. Okay, you must provide this reagent, you must provide. Nice. Okay. So they've basically just, you know, copy-pasted that rule onto everything. Presumably then, there's an outstanding order for this already. There is an outstanding order. Somebody's been testing using my items, which is why it defaulted the commission to 250k here. Okay. That still doesn't mean that people have to use this, though. I could still go, you know what, actually, there's only one ahead of me. Boom. Here's 1,000 gold, you know. Not that this is going to exist, anyway. Still plus 50 recipe difficulty on a concentrated primal infusion. Still plus 30 recipe difficulty on a primal infusion. Oh, I meant to ask. Do people understand these yet? One of the most common questions I see is regarding these primal infusions and concentrated primal infusions. I had maybe incorrectly assumed that people just knew what these were. But I seem to start seeing a lot more people question what these are, where they come from, how they're obtained, this sort of stuff. So much so that I think I might need to do a little video on these. Because it's also, I believe, causing quite a lot of confusion between how the crafting system works. Your primal infusion and your concentrated primal infusion are the optional reagents that people will be able to generate through raiding, through Mythic Plus, through whatever. You basically take a reagent that will drop in the raid from bosses. It will drop in Mythic Plus, dependent on the item level. It's called, what's it called? Primal Focus. Primal Focus or Concentrated Primal Focus is what you'll get through raiding. You take 10 Primal Focus. Are these bind on pickup? These will be, yeah. You take 10 Primal Focus and you add to that 100 Primal Chaos. And that will allow you to create a Primal Infusion. A Primal Infusion is then the optional reagent that will set the item level to heroic level, which is 395 to 405. Concentrated Primal Infusion is created by taking concentrated Primal Focus, which is the material that drops in the raid and Mythic Plus and whatever. You take 10 of those and you add it to 150 Primal Chaos, and then, hey presto, you have a concentrated Primal Infusion. I do think Blizzard needs to work on the naming of these. Maybe it's a little bit too late in the day for them to be changing the names of these sorts of things, but it's a little bit confusing, I understand. Can anybody craft the Primal Infusion or only a crafter? Anybody can. I don't have a Primal... I haven't done any raiding or Mythic Plus on this character, so I don't have the base component to hand. Yeah, the tooltips for the basic stuff doesn't help. So Primal Chaos is your generic one, right? Primal Chaos comes from everywhere. You get Primal Chaos from world quests, you get Primal Chaos from killing rares, you get Primal Chaos from treasures, you get Primal Chaos just drip fed to you all over the place. Primal Chaos, like if we take a look at the minimap now, I can bet your ass there's world quests that give Primal Chaos somewhere. You watch, there won't be now. But Primal Chaos, you can get it from a multitude of different sources. Typical. It usually only comes from the... Hey, here we go. Here we go. So you can get Primal Chaos in very small quantities from world quests. You can loot it from treasures. The way that most people will probably get it in any decent quantity, though, is by running dungeons. Or Mythic Plus, ultimately. When you kill bosses in dungeons, there's a chance for this to drop. And you're going to need this for many things. It's used for potions, it's used for gear, it's used for a bunch of things. It's also a key component in making these higher item level optional reagents. When you have... It means then when you go to place an order for something, you'll need to have done the legwork to get one of those in the first place. But people will start getting them quite quickly. They're not going to be too difficult to come by. I think I might need to turn that into a quick 5-minute video for YouTube, you know, because I think it's I think that could be generally helpful. But sticking with the work orders for the moment. So providing everything, I think, is good. If you have to provide everything, we can track recipe. Where did the track recipe go? Okay, well, you can click track recipe. Oh, okay, it's right down the bottom. So if you have more than 4 quests on your screen, it's going to disappear, sure. But there's that. Now it's tracked. Now we could, in theory, run over to the auction house. It's still not as simple as just, you know, clicking on it and it opening up the interface, which I think would be the clearly superior system for it, but my question is when we go to the auction house from this tracked recipes thing, oh, what? Oh. Okay, well, I shift clicked on the quest and it disappeared. That wasn't what I expected to happen. I was like, can I shift click on this and will it just, you know, will it automatically search for the materials? But no. No. Let's try that again. Try that again. Ranged search problem. Hey, favorite it. Let's favorite it. Look, favorite that one. Sophisticated problem solver, track recipe. Let's try that again. Get got. I did. I got very gotted. Right. But now at least I can see what I need. It's weird. It looks like you can click on it, but you can't actually click on it. So you're still going to have to come in here and you're going to go, right, obsidian, blah, blah, blah. Ooh, really? Where did somebody get that from? So you're still going to have to come in and manually search and do some legwork, but that's fine. Like I said, this is the legwork that somebody would need to make in the game currently if they were to get the materials to take it to a crafter to get an item made, right? This is still a similar amount of legwork that would be needed either way. Okay. Well, let's say you then gather up all of your materials. It's it is going to make testing the public orders on the leveling realms practically impossible, but either way. So now you'd come back over here, you'd have your materials, you can see this is now favorited, we can click on it, you fill all of the items, you put your commission in, boom, place order. Jobs are good, right? It's then when you get to the personal order system. This is kind of what I said, right? That I felt that the public orders, this is fine. You know, this level of customization, provide the materials. Do not provide the materials. That's your prerogative. If you don't provide, you know, this is like an order. This is strictly an order form. You use an order form to place an order once you've already agreed what that order is. My issue with the personal orders is that there isn't really a system in-game for crafters to advertise themselves. This might be the problem that we come against in the initial patch, that Blizzard wants us to specialize, but they've not given crafters any way to tell people that they're specialized. It might make engaging with this quite an effort, unless you just become very well known on your realm for being the blacksmith guy that makes helms or something. Yeah, you're just going to have to work on building your own reputation. And whether you decide to do that or not is entirely up to you. I think, personally, it's too much like hard work for me, if I'm honest. But I wasn't particularly a fan of doing personal orders to begin with. But this is arguably where if you are going to make some gold from the system, this is where you do it. Public orders are just a simplicity thing, right? It's just a convenience factor with public orders. Trade chat is going to be absolutely spammed to all hell with people just, you know, spamming that, because you can link your profession, right? You can link your profession in trade chat. Or you could probably even link a very specific item, you know, in trade chat. But it's just going to be 100 miles an hour spam, I would imagine, with crafters just telling other people what they can craft. The reality is that guild orders will be the way that it probably happens. Blizzard should populate the beta auction house with fake commodity items to buy just so we can test more for crafting. Maybe, but yeah, okay. Yeah, maybe. It does then mean recrafting. Recrafting is a personal / guild order system only. Which is, see, there's two. It's difficult, right? Because I know why that they've done it this way, but it does. I don't know. This is why I was never a fan of the system. Generally speaking, I felt that the two systems counteracted each other. Yeah, it's hard to really have a focused opinion on this, but it does mean that recrafting could end up being like just pretty dead. Because you got to remember how most people play the game, right? Most people who are going to get some gear through the crafting order system, most people who get a piece of gear through here are going to get the piece of gear and they're going to be happy with the piece of gear. The closest thing they might do is then eventually get one of these primal infusions or a concentrated primal infusion and want to recraft their original piece of gear. That's most players' #1 incentive to use recrafting. But to have something recrafted, to need to find a crafter when there's not going to be any easy way for people to find crafters for personal orders, there really does need to be some sort of sell order system to go alongside this, I still feel. But that's ultimately going to have to be a 10.1, 10.2 sort of thing. There's but that's not strictly going to be. I mean, this is always the way, right? When you first launch something like this, the first implementation of it is never great, but it sets the foundation. Then Blizzard build upon it and iterate on it until it eventually in patch 10.3 is reasonable, and then they delete it. I think the barrier to entry to crafting orders is much easier now, though, which is key. Because if they made public orders difficult to deal with, and if they allowed you to fail at this step of the process, people would ditch the system. They'd try it once and they'd be like, no, that system's bullshit. Fuck crafters, right? At least now that people will be able to get their gear pretty much without failure through this order system. Crafters are not going to make any gold from doing this, but crafters will be making their money on the back end, right? If you're a crafter that's worth your salt, what you'll actually do is, sure, you'll fill work orders as and where, there's a commission that makes it worthwhile you doing. But if you're using your professions to actually make gold with, you're selling shovels, right? You're selling these materials. You're crafting these materials at higher quality as you possibly can. You're crafting these materials with the lowest material costs you possibly can. You're stacking your profession gear in a manner that pushes multi-craft. It pushes resourcefulness. It makes where you really make your gold is on selling these intermediates, I feel. If that's your emphasis and if that's your desire, if that's your end goal is to make gold, you sell the intermediates. Filling the work orders is never going to make anybody rich. But I kind of knew that from day one. And this is just a nice, smooth system to allow players to get the items that they want relatively friction-free. For personal work orders, Blizzard should make a crafter able to advertise each profession they have for 48 hours so buyer can see what can be crafted on their server. Add-ons can then create a crafter.io add-on to remember all of those crafters. It genuinely wouldn't surprise me if something like that turns up. Can you please clarify what you mean by intermediates? Intermediate materials. So these things, basically. You don't farm these items. These items are crafted in and of themselves. But these are made by taking raw ore and vendor materials, they're intermediate or middle materials, right? The middle materials that you make, like Shadowgast Ingot is the best known example right now. You take some of the ore, you smush it all together, you make a Shadowgast Ingot. You can use that Shadowgast Ingot to make then bigger and better things. So this will be where you'll make your money. What it does mean, though, is there's going to be one thing that we've not really discussed, is that there is absolutely zero, and I mean zero, emphasis for when somebody does go to the auction house to buy these, they have no reason at all to provide quality materials here. None whatsoever. Because let's not forget, all of these intermediate materials have quality attached to them. There is Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 obsidian seared alloys. There is Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3 reinforced machine chassis. When somebody goes to the auction house and they see 3 different quality levels of them, at presumably 3 different prices, there's nothing in this that emphasizes or pushes for them to buy higher quality materials. Because you don't know who's crafting it, and there's no way to specify it. So this is where you're going to you'll sell a lot of stuff to Random Joe, but you'll be selling the low quality stuff. This is quite good though. This actually, there is flip side to that. This is quite good. This means that people are leveling up their professions. You'll still see good sales on lower tier materials. If you are one of the first people to be able to make tier 2 or make tier 3 qualities of these materials, you'll be able to charge a premium for them, but your customer base will be far less. Your customer base will be people that are putting in personal orders, right? Because this, where you're specifying the quantity, this is definitely something I think that they could maybe do a slightly better job of. That there is clearly going to be an issue with the personal orders still. That if basic bitch materials are supplied here, and then somebody comes along and is like, oh yeah, by the way, I want quality 5, it could just not physically be possible. There's still a scenario, because to make top quality stuff, you're likely to need good quality materials as well. So this is where the personal order system still has a chance for failure here. That if you're not putting top quality materials in here, your success rate on actually getting this order filled might be pretty slim. And there may be lots of, back and forward between the person putting in the order and the person that then ends up crafting it. Because the dude on the other end that's looking to craft this could quite quickly turn around and be like, fella, you've given me quality 1 materials and you want a quality 5 outcome. I physically can't do that. You need to put the order back in and you need to give me better quality materials. Now there's a problem with that they'll have already bought the materials, right? If they've already bought quality 1 materials and they decide they want a quality 5 version, they then have a problem on their hands. The problem is that they already have bought the quality 1 materials. They either will have to accept a lower quality, which is just going to piss people off, or they have to then try and sell the quality 1 materials to then rebuy quality 3 materials so that they then can. And see, this is why I said there needs to be some communication here. Which, when this was the case for public orders, was just a no-no, because it was never going to happen. Sounds like buying ranks 1 to 7 legendaries. Even more reason to focus on intermediates. Yeah, because like I said, I would give people the benefit of the doubt most of the time. But the fact I still to this day, I see people buy rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, rank 4, rank 5, rank 6, and rank 7. I still see people buying the complete set because they didn't understand the system. There's a little pop-up that unfortunately shows for like 10 seconds and then it disappears that says providing higher quality, something along the line. Can you turn those help things back on? Can you reload the help things? Is it an interface thing? Where would it be? Reset tutorials. Yeah, so here we go. This is what shows initially. But once you've clicked the X on it, it never shows again. Using higher quality reagents will help the crafter make your item at higher quality. Click to change which quality will be used. This is great if you have the choice, right? But when people are going to the auction house to buy the materials in the first place, it's when they're buying the materials that this information becomes actually helpful. Because I can click on this now, but what if I don't have 3 different qualities? What if I've gone to the auction house and I've bought quality 1 because I didn't realize that this made a difference? But I guess you have to let people make mistakes somewhere, right? Should we test the guild crafting order system? It's tough to do outside of a stream with many people helping out. Maybe. It's probably something we should do, actually, thinking about it. Maybe not today, because I've got things planned for the rest of the stream, but maybe next week sometime. It'll be hard for the buyer to know what each quality contributes towards the item level. It's hard for the crafter to know. Never mind the buyer. Like most crafters won't understand how that system works because it's not self-explanatory either. When you're crafting something, I can't showcase it very well on this character because he's a herbalist and miner. But when you're crafting something, it's also not very intuitive to what material does to the quality outcome. You know, if you're a bit of a maths geek, you'll have worked it out, but it's not straightforward, nor is it apparent what actually happens. What I did want to do on this character, though, is I'm keen to, if we take a little bit of a look in here, I'm keen to investigate the campaign a little bit more. Now, some smart people out there have noticed that there is a quest at the end of this called the Spark of Ingenuity. The Spark of Ingenuity is the crafting reagent that goes into making most of this endgame gear. And most people would be like, oh, it's at the end. Does this mean we don't get Sparks of Ingenuity until the very end of completing the campaign? But I think the Dragonflight campaign is slightly different to what we've understood previously, since these quests are often renown locked in many cases. Which one am I on right now? It's difficult to work out what the hell I'm even trying to do. Yeah, I can't quite easily work out which version, which one of this I'm even on, but open orientation. I need to work through this a little bit more so, and I want to get back into the habit of cleaning my map. My map is absolutely littered with stuff at the moment. And I want to really put some more time and effort into testing endgame. Or testing level 70. which means I need to devote some time to just cleaning the map of all of these random ass quests I've got and trying to, you know, piece things together a little bit more. People could scam on public work orders, right? That's a topic that needs to be considered. How could people scam on public work orders? What would the scam be? I'm confused. People want quality 5, but put inside low quality mats, but a high commission. You take the work orders and craft low quality gear because you can only craft low quality gear out of low mats, but get a high commission, or am I wrong? No, because you can't specify quality on public work orders. You can only specify quality on private work orders. If you're placing a public order, you can't specify the quality. If you will not use the you will not use the public order system to care about quality. Quality comes in when you place a personal order. And when you place a personal order, then you can say, I want it at this quality. I want a quality 5. And here are some materials. It's still entirely possible at this phase for people to put forward an order that's not physically possible. But then you speak to the crafter and you reconfigure it to a way that is possible. You tell the person that's putting the order to go back and provide better materials. You can't have quality 5 without top quality materials. Let's put it that way. I don't see this system as goal making. It's not, and I don't think it ever was designed to be. This is a system that's entirely being put into place for convenience for players, and it's to add a new layer to crafting, right? This is the reason, and this is the sole reason why when you're leveling up your professions, you get 50 points out of 100 and you hit this brick wall. They had to do that because your incentive as a crafter to use the work order system is that you'll likely gain skill points from doing it. Let me log on to another character real quick. Let's jump over to... Another bad system. Well, it depends on your perspective, right? It's not inherently bad because you don't make gold from it. Because that wasn't strictly the design of the system in the first place. The design was more so to allow people to get the gear that they wanted. It wasn't designed as a way for people to make gold. So it's you know, it's subjective in that regard, that if you look at it from the perspective of this was something that was designed to make gold, then you're going to be bitterly disappointed. But if you look at it from the perspective of this is adding some gameplay to a new expansion, then it all starts to make sense. Oh, phooey. I logged onto the wrong character then. I was trying to log on to a character that didn't have everything maxed. Most of these are going to have everything maxed. The system adds a new way of gearing, which was the goal in my opinion. Yeah, this was it. It was meant to bring crafting in line with other things. Entirely designed to bring crafting in line, not to the quite to the same level as like raiding or Mythic Plus or anything, but it was to bring it in line with, as another option for players. Have I not got a profession? At least I've got 20 million characters now, and I've got no professions on either of these. For God's sake. What about this one? I'm trying to find a character that I've leveled but not cheated to get to max. Okay, here we go. So you can see when you get a chunk of the way through, you start getting to the point where your crafting stops giving you guaranteed skill points. And what you then need to do is you need to acquire additional patterns and fill work orders to be able to gain those work orders past 50 and push to 100. You can fill 0 more public work orders. Okay, things are still a little bit broken. I think, to be honest, I think I need to just delete a whole bunch of my characters on this realm because they're all a little bit broken. More importantly, I can't remember what any of them have access to anymore. Do you think 1 million gold will be a decent start for professions to get to 50 at least on 4 characters? Probably, yeah. I don't think that gold is really going to be the restriction in Dragonflight. It was so heavily the restriction in Shadowlands that they're not particularly keen on repeating that process. They don't seem to be... We're going to finish leveling this character up for now, I think. They don't particularly feel too keen for making gold the barrier to entry. Honestly, more than anything else, time is going to be the biggest barrier to entry. That you'll be able to keep up with everything relatively comfortably on one character. But if you want to start playing 2, 3, 4 characters, no amount of gold is going to buy you an advantage over somebody that just has more time to play the game. Which is another one of those, right? Some people look at that and they're like, oh, well, fuck you then. That's annoying. While some others are like, oh, thank God. It depends on how much time you've got to play. Right, on this character who is level 66, this is Ranthius. This is one we've been leveling up slowly but surely. We've reached level 66. We've been leveling up both leatherworking and skinning at the same time on this fella. Leatherworking, actually. Now we can see that we're at... See, this is a great example. This is a great example that we have level 61 in leatherworking right now. And we have nothing. We have nothing that is going to guarantee us skill points. We now at this point need to either spec into something, choose to spec into something, which we've sort of started to do slightly. We need to start speccing into something, unlocking some of these things. I need to put 10 points in one of these to start unlocking some patterns. You need to start gaining some of those patterns to be able to then level up further. And the way you would do that is you'd unlock a recipe. So if we put... we can first learn a subspec at 10. So now we can pick shirts, helms, shoulder guards, or braces. It doesn't really matter which one. But upon learning this, we gain a pattern. Flame-touched chainmail. Now we've gained ourselves a new ability, and it will be filling work orders on this item that will give us the skill points, which will allow... And so now, in theory, we need to fill 39 work orders for a flame-touched chainmail, preferably. And that will then give us skill points. Now, I would imagine that this will stop guaranteeing skill points at some point, but we could, in theory, actually no, I'm a crafter. I'm at the wrong stage. Now we come to our workbench as a leather worker. And we can probably want to just favorite this one now. We can favorite that. So now we can go to crafting orders. Our favorites are flame touch chainmail. Boo hiss, there's no outstanding orders. Hopefully, once the game goes live, though, there'll be loads of orders coming in for these, and we can fill them. And in filling them, we'll guarantee ourselves a skill point. That's the theory of this. So it depends. Like when it comes to speccing into your profession, I'm doing a lot of thinking out loud right now, if you can't tell. But when it comes to speccing into your professions, you have a couple of options. You can either go like super hardcore into just becoming the best person on your realm at making this one pattern that you've unlocked. You could become the very best person at making flame touch chainmail. Because you can see right now, whilst I'm still leveling up and I'm still trying to, you know, I've only got 1 out of my 3 items even here. My ability to make this, I can make this at quality 2. The best I can do is a 384 item at this point. But I can be filling these work orders, and I'm still, let's not forget, not even dinged level 70. I'm still progressing, I'm still leveling. Yeah, you get access to these recipes if you gain the spec points. I can fulfill public work orders that come in for this. A public work order would come in, the public work order would have supplied all of the materials. All I would need to do is, you know, click the button, fill the order, boom, hey presto, skill point. And as time goes on, my skill, as I push this is one method of getting skill. Improving my profession accessories will gain more skill. Spending more points in my spec tree will also grant more skill. This is the, you know, the week by week progression system for each profession and character. The fact that I have 60 odd points in here means technically I can unlock a second one of these as well. Sensible Steve says probably leatherworking discipline, but you'll see I need requires level 75 of Dragonel's leatherworking to unlock an additional spec. So at this point, I need points, right? I need points. Where am I going to get these points from? I'm going to get these points by fulfilling work orders for chainmail, flame touch chainmail. There might be a problem with focusing on crafting intermediates, because how would you level up after 50 skill without having access to these special recipes? Well, the spec trees is not the only place you get access to these recipes. Let's not forget. This is why renown is a thing. You could, as a leather worker, I'll use leatherworking as an example to continue on from this. If you take a little bit of a looky at what leatherworking has to offer, where's material, rep grind recipe chart? Leatherworking, for example, you could go out and you could become, this is a bit, can we do some zooms? Hang on, let me do some zooms. As a leather worker, you could go out and become more established with the Iskara Tuskar. You could become more established with the Marok Centaur. And once you start hitting some of these thresholds, there's a multitude of patterns that you can pick up here. And the same process applies for any of them, really. You could even go out and you could do the Cobalt Assembly a little bit as a leather worker. If you bash out the Cobalt Assembly for an afternoon, increase your standing over there, get the Frosted Armor Kit. If we go back in game and look what the Frosted Armor Kit, for example, show unlearnt, Frosted Armor Kit, where's it gone? Frosted Armor Kit down here. This is going to guarantee skill points. That might be your way to gain skill points without necessarily strictly filling work orders. It could prove to be a problem if you're trying to go the intermediate route and you're not willing to level that character up to 70. Then you might have a problem. If you're planning on having just like lots of level 60 crafting alts and you're planning on going the intermediate route, that might not work very well. So if you're a blacksmith, you're forced to spec into armor/weapon making to fulfill work orders to level up. you're going to get these 50 skill points eventually somehow. And any end game thing that you're crafting will get like I said though, it's getting access to these recipes. Let's not forget a bunch of this shit comes off the auction house. You can buy a whole bunch of recipes, presumably. If we take once again a little look here, and we say, let's go. I'm going to continue to use leatherworking as my example. Leatherworking, we have recipes then, right? So where do we get everything from? Where do we get something from the auction house? Where do we get something from the auction house? Here we go. Loads of auction house stuff. This is a raid drop, a couple of raid drops on a few bits of gear. Raid drop, raid drop. All the PvP kit. All the patterns for the PvP gear is going to come from the auction house. Infurious Spirit Hood, Infurious Wraps of Indemnity, Infurious Chainmail Protector, Infurious Boots of Reprieve. These are all endgame crafted bits of kit that you'll hopefully start to see some work orders appearing for. These recipes can all be purchased off the auction house. There's another path, there's another avenue for you to get something to craft. Acidic Hailstone Treads, Slimy Expulsion Boots, Toxic Thorn Foot Wraps, Venom Seeped Stompers, all endgame bits of crafted gear. Recipes will be in the auction house. There's lots of options. There's lots of options. Lots of options. And all these patterns you see, Recipe Unlearned, drops off decayed creatures. These are all endgame bits of kit. So you're not strictly going to have to spec in a very specific direction to get endgame patterns. There are multiple ways you can get endgame patterns and level up. But this does quite well to showcase at this point that your ability to make things at reasonable quality is still, real caca-poo-poo. You'll probably gain enough skill points, and if you're working on your professions, and this is why there's that long-tailed progression system, the more you work on your professions on a weekly basis, the more knowledge you gain, the more spec points you assign, the more profession accessories that you acquire. This bar is slowly but surely going to push into the different levels, right? It has a recipe difficulty of 415. I need 415 skill to guarantee this at quality 5. I've only got 128 skill. 61 skill points comes from the 61 points I have in the profession, and then I'm gaining 67 additional skill points, presumably from these, right? I've put points in here. I gain a bunch of points from doing this. I gain a bunch of points from this. So, it's all about slowly but surely increasing your skill and increasing your things. This is why I think that not having quality on public work orders is not a big deal. Because I'm a level 66 character, right? In theory, I could go to the auction house and buy a bunch of endgame recipes straight away. When you ding level 70, even a quality 2, a 384 item level piece of gear is going to be a significant upgrade. And there's always buying a piece of gear and buying a low quality piece of gear is not the end of the world, because you can always upgrade it later. In a few weeks' time, when crafters start being able to make quality 3, quality 4, even quality 5 bits of kit, then you can just get your original piece recrafted. And recrafting it at a later date is going to be a lot more cost effective than buying another piece of gear again. It's a mindset thing for a lot of players, and this is what Blizzard has got to be really careful with. They've got to teach people that buying a piece of gear and then upgrading it later is a safe thing to do. It's not the end of the world. You don't have to only get the best thing in the first time you get it. it's perfectly acceptable to buy an upgrade and then have it recrafted at a later date. Even in your interface, look, you can see it shows, like, if there's quality 2, quality 1, it showcases on your normal character window. Trailblazer scale vest, you could get that upgraded. Now, I as a crafter already could upgrade this myself. I could recraft this one that I've currently got equipped. A 308 that I've got equipped here.
Let's make sweet
We could
profit
upgrade this
together.
to 316.
Oh my god, 4 ads?
4 ads? Oh, Twitch. Sorry, I don't have much control over the Twitch ads. But thank you very much for the Prime. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. 10 months as well, by the way. Very nice. So right now, I've got 260 Artisan's Metal on this character by the looks of things. Presumably from first time crafting and from doing some skinning
wallet?
and stuff.
Are you just glad to see me? Both, I hope.
Nib and Wen with the Prime Gaming as well. Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. Thank you, thank you. So now we could do a recraft for the cost of 1 Artisan's Metal and some adamant scales. We could recraft this up to level 5. I wonder if when we recraft it, because it's taking our soulbound one, does it just make a brand new one at 316?
Let's make sweet
I've genuinely
profit
not
together.
tested this before. What happens if we recraft this now? Technically nothing. Did it not do anything? Do we have to take it off? Will it not do it because it... That's not comforting that it doesn't even work. There's me singing Blizzard's praises here. And it doesn't work. Oh, it did that. Oh. Well, that they need to work on. It'll upgrade my bind on equip one. But it wouldn't upgrade my soulbound one. Oh, that's not good. That's not good at all. You should be able to upgrade a soulbound piece of kit and have it create a soulbound piece of kit. That's not good. Not upgrade. Let's use the right words. Recraft. A soulbound Trailblazers scale vest. I could only recraft my spare BOE version that I had in my bags. Bug report, look at Mantheus's stream, bookmark XYZ. This is also one of the benefits of streaming a lot of what I do. If I need to refer back to something, I can go, look, it's there. Okay. Because not being able to upgrade a soulbound one would be very, very... You know, the entire point of recrafting is that you don't have to have a second one to make. All right. Oh, that's also interesting. On my regular character screen, it doesn't show the little quality indicators. But if I have my profession window open at the same time, then it shows the little quality indicators. It should just show the quality indicators all the time. This is a cool little benefit to have. Don't take that away from me just because I haven't got the crafting window open. I want to see that all the time. It's not a bug, it's feedback. It's just F6 on this one. It would be nice to see the quality icon always, not only when the crafting window is open. In for a double. In for a double. I wonder if it was just maybe bugged because I had 2 of those items, maybe. I wonder what happens if I... Because also when you select recrafting, it instantly highlights everything in your bags that can be recrafted as well. Do I have a second pair of these boots on me? I don't have a second pair of these boots. What happens if I do a recraft on these? I can upgrade these to 316 now. I could even throw a Titan training matrix on it, pushing it even further. Instead of 316, we could push it up to 343. Could we do this? So it goes from 308 all the way up to 343. See, this then indicates that it's bind on pickup now. When you use one of these, add soulbound and level 64. Let's use a Titan training matrix. Let's really push these up higher. Take some artisan's metal, take some adamant scales, take some resilient leather, sure, whatever. Oh no, it still doesn't work. Oh no. Oh lord. It still doesn't work. Release candidate, boys and girls. Release candidate. Okay, so recrafting just doesn't work. Take the item off. Close the window. Open the window. It just doesn't work. Okay. Okay. Well, in theory, what should happen is I should now press the recraft button and I should get a 343 version of this. In theory. If I use best quality materials, is that going to make any difference? No, it still just doesn't work. Okay. At least it didn't use any well, that's true. At least it wasn't using the materials. Just out of... Maybe I take it off. Let's do a reload. Then let's maybe recraft. Just in case there's some shenanigans with... No, it just doesn't work. Okay. Okay, well, I tried. I tried. Right, I'm going to grab a drink for 2 minutes, boys and girls, because I can feel my throat starting to itch. I'm going to grab a drink, and then we're going to continue leveling up Branthius a little bit. This is a character that has been created relatively recently, so is more likely to be bug-free. More likely, but obviously not completely bug-free. Right, I'll be back in 2 minutes. Let me go grab a drink. Alrighty. Are my materials in different stacks? That's actually a very good question. That's a very good question. No. No. It's just broken. Don't worry about it. Release candidate, it's fine. Right. Let's get this dude leveled up a touch then. Considering this character's not actually the first character, who put down a who put down a campfire? Did I put down a campfire? Right, I guess what we can also do, technically, is pick up Leatherworking Quest. When you give Bakar a bone, craft 2 bone-wrought crossbows, 3 knowledge points and a bit of rep. Can we do that now? No, we're not going to be able to do that because it requires runed Wraith bark. It also requires pristine Vorqueen horn. Now, the question is, craft 2 bows. You would kind of, this is one of those weird scenarios where you might just want to go and buy 2 off the auction house, but I can't. Damn, that's annoying. That's a dead quest for me. The recraft worked for me on the Valdrakken realm. Yeah, it might just be these realms. A dense delivery. Gather 2 dense hides, 3 skinning knowledge. Well, we can do that straight away. Have some dense hides then. Quality 2 dense hides. How many of those do we not have? Oh, we've got 24 of them. We're fine. Boom. Oh, that also gave me 3,000 reputation. 75 rep with Valdrakken, 500 rep with the Artisans Consortium. Let's learn these knowledge points. Where can we spend our skinning points? We're maxed on skinning. We've got 7 points. We were going baiting, apparently. What in the world is going on in front of me? Who's popping off fireworks like a madman? Absolute mental cases going on here. Chill with your fireworks. Anyone would think it's bonfire night nearly. Oh, it actually is. What's the date? Is it the 4th today? Oh, it's officially bonfire night for any of my UK friends tomorrow. Who and what's on a Saturday as well. That's a very convenient day for a bonfire night. I like. Right. Let's time to start farming fried bonefish mats. I need to lay siege to Dragonbane Keep. I need to complete this. Who's of War. Deliver this message to this fella. What's bonfire night for those that CBF Googling? Bonfire night in the UK is, I can't remember the law behind it, but the reality is people make big fires and have fireworks and stand in the cold. And I can't really remember the reason why we do it, but we do. Hooves of War over that way. It's some commemoration for the time that some dude tried to blow up the Houses of Parliament in the UK and failed. And so we commemorate the fact that he failed. Or something like that. I can't remember. One of those things you get taught at school and very quickly forget about because it doesn't matter. OG Halloween. Rah, sort of. Sort of. To cheer for his heroism or to cheer that the Houses... Well, technically, to cheer that the Houses of Parliament were saved. That he was apprehended before he managed to do any damage. Magic bound chest. Where's this chest? In this cave? Is there a cave round here? There's a cave here. Is this where the magic bound chest is? It might be. Oh, I also need to remember I'm not level 70 yet. What is that on my button? Why have I got a golden dragon goblet? This is no time to showcase your wealth. Okay. Pet's dead. Okay. Right. Hunter do hunter things. Pet do pet things, please. Yeah, so to commemorate the Houses of Parliament not getting blown up, we blow things up. It's British logic there. Yay, the Houses of Parliament weren't blown up. Let's burn him at the stake. And let's burn him at the stake and let's blow up fireworks instead. Something like that. It all makes sense. It's an excuse to have bonfires and it's an excuse to, you know, blow up fireworks. Doesn't need to be a logical reason. I mean, as it stands at the moment, if British politics is much to go by, I mean, the people in charge are doing a fine job of blowing up the economy, so... But that's a touchy subject. We won't go there. I need that funky weak aura that everybody seems to have with the leveling thing up here. Is it a weak aura? I saw Mr. GM using it. I guess it's a weak aura that has the big, like, time to level and all that sort of stuff on it, right? It looked very weak aura-esque. I actually want to do this world quest. This world quest is going to offer me a gear upgrade. $2.99. Might as well do it, you know. It's a Luxos XP weak aura. Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. I even got a link to it, look. Magic. Let's move out the way for a minute and let's maybe click that link. Works for Shadowlands, Dragonflight, Wrath of Lich King, support, blah blah blah. Where's me download link? Copy import string. That one, right? I guess this now also means we need to enable weak auras, which is not on my add-ons. Let's fix that real quick. Cynical me would rather believe one particular year an importer bought too many fireworks and needed a fire sale. Well, it's kind of one of the things that could happen, yeah. Come on, Course Forge, be fast. Speedy now. Beta. Get more add-ons. I don't even have weak auras on the beta. I'm sure I can get weak auras on the beta, right? Why is it blinking at me? Well, that's fine. Just a casual 131 million people have installed it. Okay. I should probably update all of my add-ons. Go. Do the things. Is it here? There it is. Do me a reload. Weak auras, blah, 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 blah. Okie dokie. Where do I input this? Import. Paste. Hey, here we go. This aura contains custom lure code. Please make sure you trust the person who sent it. Oh, Lord. What? What? Oh, look. Great. Excellent. Fantastic. Import. Whoa! Chunky boy. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave it about there. That makes sense, right? That'll do. Beautiful. Beautiful. That's actually quite snazzy. I like that. 144% rested. Gives you an estimation to how quickly you'll level. Ah, cool. Big streamer now. Big streamer. Got all the fancy tools. Check me out importing somebody else's weak aura like a pro. If you go to display, you can scale it down. Ah, big, obnoxious. It's practically not big enough. That's what she said. Must remember to skin these things and all. Because why not? Oh, hang on. Are these... Yeah, we need 10 lightning-infused rocks. There's a lot. Oh, now it's in the way of our quest progress. Edit mode. Ignore. Yeah, whatever. What's the one that shows quest progress? There isn't one that shows quest progress. Always turns up here. Okay, that's annoying. Maybe I put then. It's just Jiminy Cricket, this down here. Talking heads can just be annoyingly in the middle of everything. Let's put this right up the top. That'll do. I'm not messing about with it too much. Did I miss something, or why do you want 2 experience bars? Just looks cool, innit? Nothing's ever logical. Oh, God. Now weak auras has died on me. Hey, there's a second rock. So usual Manthy stream? Pretty much. Pretty much. We spend far too much of our time optimizing and doing things correctly. Sometimes it's fun just to do things for no reason whatsoever. Persephone, welcome in. Good morning to you. Or what could be... It should be good morning to you. Somebody was saying earlier that the actual speed of leveling's bananas crazy at the moment, if you know what you're doing. And it's one of those things that's a super common question at this sort of time in any form of... And any time there's like a beta, people always, for some reason, are asphyxiated on how fast can you level your characters. And it goes to show, right? It's very clear that people don't particularly enjoy leveling. They do it because there's a means to an end. And very frequently, people want to know how fast can you level. Now, I've not tested leveling much at all. But I suspect about an hour per level feels, you know, acceptable. I don't think you want leveling to be that fast either. What some people probably haven't understood fully yet is that even if you level to 70 super fast, you probably actually are going to want to go back and do all of the side quests anyway. Oh, a cacophonious thunderscale. Your desire to get access to more reputation is going to mean that you probably want to do all of the side quests and do all of the funky things if needed, where needed, because they offer reputation. Is he a rare? You're part of a quest. You're not necessarily a rare. It's roughly 18 to 20 hours now, 1 to 60. 20 to 35 is the longest. It cannot be 18 to 20 hours to get from 1 to 60. If it's taken you 18 to 20 hours to get from 1 to 60, you've done something wrong. It shouldn't take anywhere near that long. Surely not. On retail now, really? Grinded 5k pet charms for the dog pet. Did I just waste my sanity, or do you think it'll be worth something? I mean, it will definitely be worth something. The bauble worm right now is... well, the bauble worm is super cheap, but the bauble worm has the slight problem of that it's ugly as sin, right? The only people who really want the flawless amethyst bauble worm are collectors. The new pet flipping out, what was his name? The new 5k pet token pet, he's just cute as all hell. So, you know, Scout, there we go. So you'll instantly have an entire new market of people who will want that pet. Just because he's cute. And without the... without easy access to mission tables, because, okay, I should also preface this by saying it's not like the mission tables are going to be removed from Shadowlands. They will still exist, but people are far less likely to engage with them because it's not the current expansion. Your ease of access for pet charms will mean that over time, less and less people will probably have just an influx of pet charms. Boom. Where'd it go? $2.99. There we go. Upgrade. Love it. I can do 10 to 40 in about 3 hours now. Yeah, I can't imagine it takes you much more than like 10, 20 minutes a level nowadays. Leveling next week, starting on Sunday, and retail is going to be great. Oh, you've got the anniversary event, yeah. What's that? A flat 18% experience buff because of the anniversary event on top of everything else that's happening right now. You're going to have, what is it, like 70, 80%? It's going to be nearly twice as fast. Let's grab this flight point. Anniversary buff and the Dark Moon Fair. I think you're going to be able to stack an awful lot, you know. People are going to be really speedy leveling. It's weird, right? Because I'm in a position now where I don't really have any desire to level a single character. And there's a theory of that just having more alts is always a good thing. But there comes a point where I'm done leveling, if I'm honest. Like I've leveled so many characters over the years that there's not really a huge desire for me to level anymore, regardless how quick it is. And then there's some people who have like 100+ level 60s, and I'm just like, that's bananas. In a world of mission tables, it's probably an advantage, but... Were these an upgrade? Hey, these are an upgrade too. Upgrades for days. $50 to $60 in Chromie time takes only 90 minutes. That's very fast. 1 level every 10 minutes. That's very fast. Blame Zan for needing lots of alts. He's got stupid amounts of the things nowadays. He's got more alts than he knows what to do with, I swear. And he's still pushing for more. He was in stream earlier, but he's probably back busy leveling, I would imagine. Never leveled a character in all my time playing WoW. I don't think I'll start now. I've done it more times than I care to admit. And I think by this point I am done leveling characters. If I ever want another character for any reason, I just buy a boost at this point. I know somebody with max tunes on their account at 60. I mean, surely Zan's... I mean, Zan's a full... Yeah, he's got 136 level 60s, I think, now. Which is pretty bonkers. Some people just love leveling, though. You know, that's some people's jam, and I'm not taking that away from them. I'm just, you know, expressing the fact that it's not for me anymore. I've done my time. Right now I've got 1260. I've not counted up how many level 60s I've got. It's not crazy amounts though. I've got 5 or 6 on my main server and then another 5 or 6 dotted across other realms. I'm probably in double figures, but I'm probably not much more than that. One thing I like, it's actually going to be the first expansion for a long time that I'm going to go into a new expansion without one of every class at max level. this has been a bit of a thing for a few expansions now. I like to go in with, you know, it means that if I don't know, if I randomly want to play a shaman, I have one to be able to play, sort of thing. That's always been a bit of a thing for me. But then I realised that, well, actually, I never play these characters. I genuinely never play them. And if I'm not playing them, then it's wasted time and effort. I'd rather be doing something else. I got into the routine of leveling characters for the sake of leveling characters, which felt a bit pointless. There's no way you can play that many efficiently. Until Blizzard makes the alt friendliness aspect of the game. I mean, they're working on it. I'll give them some credit. They are doing bits and pieces. Just the other day, we got with this latest beta build. Actually, we now have the alt catch-up system for Renown in place, which is nice to have. There are still many people out there that think that, you know, whatever your Renown level is on your main character should also be the same on your alts. And to a degree, if there wasn't, you know, it's weird, right? Because profession recipes is the one aspect where you don't particularly want one person on one character to be able to level up and then have instant access to all the profession recipes. But that's only theoretically possible if that other person also has a bunch of alts to be able to do that. So you could still sort of argue that they've kind of put in the time already, but there are bigger ramifications for it. This is the thing, right? The process, and this, not that I watched the whole thing, but Bellular put out a video that I started watching the other day until I realized it was just one of his rant videos. Bellular put out a video the other day talking about how the combat system is just like old and antiquated at this. Whoa, 10k rep for opening a treasure chest. Okay. Yeah, basically claiming that the combat system in WoW is a little bit all over the place. And I think you can kind of look at many aspects of World of Warcraft right now and say the same. That this game is old now. You can't deny this game is old. Now, we have new expansions every 2 years, but the fundamentals of this game is old. Squirrel? Always the squirrels. And the problem is that you can only iterate on a system for so long before it becomes worthwhile just starting again. And this is almost the problem that WoW's going to come across. And people have been saying this for years, but it's kind of and this is maybe why they make systems for an expansion. And then next expansion, they can them. They're dead. They're gone. Because they don't strictly... Who's shooting me? Is it you? Son of a bit. They don't strictly want every system to be in the game forever. Maybe. But there does come a point, I think, where you start to question that, are they just iterating on top of a system that could be really done with just being replaced? You can say a lot of bad things about WoW. I don't think combat is one of them, though. The fluidity of the combat's really good. What's not so great, though, and this is what Bellular was trying to point out in his video, but it just turned into a bit of a weird video. He was trying to point out the fact that there's not really that consistency with the systems. You'll have a buff up here, you'll have something on your bars down here, you'll have something that will pop up in the middle of the screen. If you were to build the combat system, like the UI side, the user experience of the combat system, if you were to rebuild that afresh, you would never choose to do it the way that Blizzard does it now. There's no way you would ever choose to do it the way that Blizzard does it. The reason that it is the way that it is right now is more because it's always been this way, and more because there's like 3 or 4 iterations of the same system piled on top of each other. You would never, if you were rebuilding the system from afresh, choose to do it the way Blizzard does it now. It doesn't make any sense. But the actual the combat in WoW is, compared to most MMOs, like miles ahead. There's rarely an MMO where the combat system feels as fluid as it does in WoW. I can't think of a better word than fluid. But in a lot of other games, the combat system tends to feel like janky. And this is probably because Blizzard is built on like the global cooldown system for over a decade at this point to make it feel smooth. A lot of other games are not very good at that. I love Bell, but I'm glad I'm not the only one that sees his videos and goes, is he ranting again or not? Yeah. It's weird, right? I don't understand Bellila's approach to this. Or I do, because I also understand he doesn't really play the game. And as somebody that doesn't... It's hard to be an authority on a game that you don't play. This is where he relies very heavily on his writers to hold the fort. But it feels very weird, his choice of videos sometimes. Of all of the things you could be talking about in World of Warcraft right now, with Dragonflight a matter of weeks away from being launched, his choice is to talk about the UX experience of combat. Like, really? Nobody was thinking that, Bellila. That was not the forefront of anybody's mind. Maybe it's a 5-head play. It could be a 5-head play, getting people to think about it, but I don't know. I think we'll find that the UX experience of combat will change with Evokers, though. Blizzard do seem to be trying to shake it up a little bit. This whole, like, press and hold casting thing. I've not played the Evoker very much. I did the starting zone. I didn't particularly want to get too deep into the Evoker class. Honestly, because truth be told, I probably won't play one. I mean, I will level 1 because it's the new shiny toy to play with, right? But I don't particularly think that as a class it stands out for me enough for me to go, you know what, I want to main that. I've played this game for too long. The sunk cost fallacy for me is far too strong. I've played my Hunter for over a decade at this point as my main character. It would take something incredibly magical for that ever to not be the thing. Which, Evoker isn't that thing. Not for me, anyway. I've seen really mixed reports on the Evoker as well. Really, really mixed reports. Lots of people seem to be coming forward and saying that it's fun, but I don't want to main it. And that feels quite odd to me. That it's in that position where it feels fun, but people don't want to dedicate to it. And I don't really understand why that is, but like I said, I've not played it that much, so I don't know, maybe it's because it's a healer class? Is that maybe why it's putting some people off playing it? Because you tend to find healers are either healers, right? You'll have a healer and they're a healer. That's all they do. They heal, right? That's their jam. But I think if you're a DPS, a lot of DPS players are also like, oh, I don't want to heal. Oh, that's almost responsibility. I don't want none of that in my life. And the fact that there's the ability for you to be a healer means that some people will be obligated to play the healing side of it, maybe. I don't know. What's an elemental moat? Why is that white and not grey? It's probably the same reason as you, sunk cost fallacy. They've spent years playing their mains, which is part of their identity. But people were very quick to switch over to Demon Hunters, though. This is why it feels a bit confusing for me. When Demon Hunters became a thing, people were all over those like a rash. There was people that switched to Demon Hunters and have never looked back. I don't see the same desire for the Evoker. Demon Hunters were OP. Do we not think Evokers are going to be OP? Are they going to be... I mean, because having a level of... they could be complex. They could be an easy to play but hard to master class. But that's not going to stop people from mastering them. There are some outrageously good players of this game. They felt weak, in my opinion. Are they strictly considered... Because Blizzard has this, like, hero class mentality, right? Death Knights were a hero class. Demon Hunters were a hero class. I don't think monks were ever considered a hero class. And maybe this is also by design then for the Evokers. That maybe because they're not strictly considered to be a hero class, they're just, you know, something new. Maybe they're not pushing Evokers quite as hard. And we've also seen that there's the Mr. GM tends to go through the code in the game when a new build gets pushed. And we've already found that there's voice lines for other classes. So the Drakthir are going to be able to be more than just Evokers eventually, clearly, because there's voice lines that have been pre-recorded. Now, just because there's a voice line recorded doesn't mean it'll ever happen, but it gives it a much better chance all the same. What am I trying to get here? Soulbound Essence and Storm Caller Initiate Slain. Is that any of these fellas? That's not any of you, is it? Oh, I've aggroed these anyway. Demon Hunters and DKs have the same lines. Oh, do they really? Okay, so that's maybe that's huffing the hopium a little bit, but let's be honest, the Demon Hunter's a lot cooler than an Evoker. I think their big problem was that from the word go, people told them that they didn't particularly like the design of the Evoker. Just from looks, you know. People quite quickly said, I mean, I still categorize them as skinny lizards. We heard about the Evoker and we were like, oh shit, we get to be a dragon. Oh, we get to play a dragon. We get to go into Dragonflight and play a dragon. That's cool. And then they turned up and people were like, these aren't dragons. What is this? Some skinny lizard. I don't want some woke soy boy lizard. I want a dragon. Give me something that, you know, give me something proper fire breathing. And then their fire breathing is more like a, you know, a COVID cough. It's not really much of a dragon's roar sort of thing. I guess expectations were maybe not met on the aesthetics department. Kill one more of you. They do kind of look like effeminate skinny jean lizards. Yeah, there's something about them that's like, okay. Whereas Demon Hunters, yeah, you're spinning Warglaves, you're pretending to be Illidan, you're popping off, you got flipping eye beams, just deleting the screen, and yeah, there was just some serious cool things. I think the initial backlash of Saw probably didn't help the situation. You imagine they put eye beam. If they put eye beam on a 5-minute cooldown, I think people would have been pissed. Right, who are we freeing? What are we doing? Oh, fill the bar quest. Okay. Pew pew you. Put double jump on a cooldown. Yeah, see, this is it, right? And we know that Soar was always going to be such an incredibly powerful movement ability that it was clearly going to have a cooldown. But it was a keystone ability for the class, right? Oh, are we still cheesing on this character because we've got a 350 weapon? We are, yeah. I felt our DPS was a little bit more than it should be on this character. It's because we got a broken weapon. We weren't supposed to get this, I don't think. Only has a 1 minute cooldown in the Dragon Isles now and has its max speed. The damage has been done, though. I think the damage has been done. People have complained. You know, this is the risk you got to get. Blizzard should have learned this by now. Like, honestly, that you got to get it right from the beginning. Blizzard, you can't piss people off and then ask for forgiveness all the time, Blizzard, because people remember shit. Believe it or not. First impressions count for a lot. Oh, cutscene. She's a bit nasty, isn't she? Pathetic. You mean like being conned into actually paying for a 12-month sub when I already had 9 months of game time? I cannot believe Blizzard missed a trick with that 12-month sub, you know. They missed a trick with that 12-month sub. I cannot believe that they didn't put Diablo 4 in the 12-month sub. I cannot believe they didn't do it. If they put Diablo 4 in the 12-month sub, boom. Everybody would have now have a 12-month sub. Or at least a significantly more people. We know full well that there's a closed beta happening for Diablo 4 right now. We know full well that the Diablo 4 is scheduled to come out, you know, Q2 next year. It would have been such an obvious thing for them to have put D4 in it. They did it with Diablo 3, if you remember, all the way back in the day. They bundled in Diablo 3 with what I think was the first... Was it the first ever iteration of a 6-month sub? Shit, the bed. That's going to be over a decade ago now. Is that really how long we've had 6-month subs? I've played this game for too long. But it's so surprising they didn't bundle in D4 with a 12-month sub. It was a 1-year sub then as well, was it? D3 was a year sub. Why did they not do it with D4? That's how I got started on D3. There we go. Don't worry, there'll be another 12-month sub option in about 6 months' time. Or all that, yeah. It was a year-long sub, but you only had to agree to pay for the year, not splash out in a single payment. Was that how it worked? Oh. Good times earning 1k a month playing Diablo Manager. Selling those hamburgers. Am I planning anything specific for the Twitch drops? Not particularly. Although I might try and make sure that I at least stream on those days. As my stream schedule at the moment has been less than reliable, I'm very aware of it. I will do my best to remember and make sure that we do actually stream on those days, so that people that want the drops have access to the drops. I'm not planning anything particular though. Activision just needs a chunk of money for a good Q4 and the investors, because they know D4 will save their 2023 earnings. You could look at it from a business perspective, yeah. What are we doing on this quest? Oh, I've got to go all the way over here. I think D4 is going to look pretty fun. If they do a public beta for D4, I'll be quite interested in poking my nose in that, I reckon. Oh, that's a big upgrade. Yoink. 286, there's an upgrade. I need to remember to, I'm so used to using Zygor. Zygor usually shouts at me when I don't put on a piece of gear that's an upgrade. Without having Zygor on the beta, I kind of forget that it's a thing. 272? No, I got cheese level. Zygor doesn't work in the beta. I've just not installed it. It probably does. I would imagine that they're probably working on it in the beta, but I've not tested Zygor at this point. I'm not sure if they as a company choose to support the beta or not. Probably not. Can't decide if you want Zygor or Rested XP. I've not tested Rested, I'll be honest. For reference, before I get too deep into this, I am affiliated with Zygor. If you use my affiliate link that pops up in stream occasionally, I do get a kickback. I do get a commission off that. But I've not tested Rested. I think Rested XP is purely a leveling thing though, right? I don't think it offers much over and above. Honestly, the main reason I use Zygor is actually less for the leveling. Because leveling's not exactly particularly hard nowadays. I actually use Zygor more for tracking achievements and pets and all that sort of stuff that goes alongside it. It's very handy at the beginning of an expansion when everything's new. It loses its benefit later on in the expansion, but if you wish to support the channel, good old Streamlabs has just provided people a link to Zygor. You can check it out, have a look. I don't know what their situation is with their free trial. I know they do a free trial of it as well. I don't know where it gets you. It used to get you to level 20. I don't know if that's the same anymore. I should also clarify that Zygor gold making side of things is dog shit. Ignore it. Do not buy Zygor for the purpose of the gold making side of things. It's terrible. Hashtag ad, but don't use it. I am just being honest. I'm affiliated, but not sponsored. Similar as to, I mean, you welcome in, Mr. Gumdrops, by the way. You could say the similar thing for Trade School Master. Although I don't actually have a TSM affiliate link, so maybe it's not quite the same, but in theory it could be. I used to use Zygor, but another $10 a month is another expense. Yeah, I understand. I understand. You should by now. Let's sort that out. I truth be told, I've deliberately not had one. Because I don't want. The honest answer here is I'm relatively critical, and I would like to keep my ability to be relatively critical. I don't even want there to be the opportunity to be accused of being biased because I'm affiliated. It's not that I have any. I like to be able to remain neutral with Trade School Master. And I don't think many people care about that, but I do, so. Advocate, affiliate, sponsored, cult follower. Well, that's a new level. That's a new level completely. We in the program wouldn't stop you doing that, but it's fair. Yeah, I know. I'm very aware. What time is it? I'm clearly getting hungry, and if Gumdrops is in chat, it must be lunchtime, right? It is nearly lunchtime. I might just order food for lunch. I'm being really lazy today. The wife isn't at home, so I might just order some food. Order some food and play some video games. That sounds like a cracking idea. If you remember the sickening conflict of interest with me running the subreddit, yes. I forgot to pay any attention. Why the flipping hell am I on a dragon all of a sudden? I should really be paying attention to the storyline a little bit more than this. Can't celebrate selling your house with a baked potato. Got to order it in. I don't even think I've got a baked potato in the house. I think one of the major reasons why I might order in is because there's strictly no food in the house. It's also why LST never sponsored you. In fact, you sponsored LST. And the fact that realistically LST made no money. It's very, I mean, add-ons. I don't envy people that make add-ons for this game. They're fighting an uphill battle to begin with. Are you doing a video on the update for crafting orders? I probably will do later on today. I wanted to dive in a little bit of detail and give myself some time to put my thoughts together on it. Luckily, there's not too much to report back to people. I know we spent 2 hours looking at it earlier, but there's not actually, when you break it down, too much to talk about, other than they've simplified public orders, and they've chosen to remove recrafting from public orders as well, which is, I think, a wise decision. My computer is going absolutely batshit crazy. Can you guys hear that in the background? My computer is constantly whirring like mental. This is one of the reasons I really need to replace this thing, because something about it is not happy. What's my plan for streaming during launch? I will be streaming for as long as I'm playing the game, which will probably be 12 hours a day. There's not really too much reason for me to be not streaming while I'm playing. My goal is to have a bunch of pre-made videos ready for the launch, at least for the launch week. Obviously, if there's anything critical that turns up as and when the game goes live, then we'll talk about that for sure. But stream. It will probably be a pretty aggressive stream week. That's my aim at least. Although I will say at this moment in time, based upon the fact that I sold my house today. So, or okay, let me put it this way: I accepted an offer on selling my house today. So there is the chance that that might cause some problems for me, but unfortunately, IRL came first before playing video games. Feel free to make and edit the vids on stream. Well, I might need to do that. I might need to do that, and to be able to do that efficiently, I might need a more powerful PC, because at the moment, my PC is clearly having problems just streaming even, which is a bit of a shame. Did you include the auction house cut in your house offer? Can you imagine if I turned around to the wife and was like, we need to charge 5% more. We need to charge 6% more for the auction house fee. She'd look at me very funny. Whoa, 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 relax. There we go. Sold a house, you presumably got a nice chunk of change. If it wasn't for the fact that there's only one reason why we sold our house, and that's for the fact that we've put in an offer to buy a more expensive house. So I'm clearly in the red pretty aggressively. And on the premise that this whole content creation side of things is not exactly bringing in the big bucks right now. I'm doing all right. I can't complain. I get to sit and play video games for a living and call it a living. Although by most people's circumstances, I'm probably not making much more than minimum wage right now. But, you know, that alone is an achievement in many cases. Launch week, Coke and cheese lung, or lots of boxes, tape and arguments. Coke and cheese lung. That sounds like a wild weekend at a music festival. Oh, we can skin this fella. Yoink. Congrats on the house stuff. I hope it's as little stress for you as possible. Just done the same thing. Luckily in Finland, it's actually a far more simplistic process than it is in most other countries. Or let me put it this way. Buying and selling houses in the UK, which I know a bunch of my audience is from the UK. Buying and selling property in the UK is a fucking nightmare. It's ridiculous. In Finland, it's much easier. You don't need fucking lawyers to be involved. It's really simple. You have an estate agent, you pay them a cut, and they do all of the work. Which is, you know, kind of the point. What's the add-on WeakAura to display the level in the top part of the screen? Somebody linked it earlier. Somebody linked it to me. There's a Wago link going around somewhere. There we go. Maybe if I turn... Is it Alt and R for the... No, that's the NVIDIA one. Is it my GPU that's dying a death, or is it my CPU? I'm clearly CPU bottlenecked. See, this is the reason why I need to upgrade this. I'm clearly CPU bottlenecked. Apparently somebody wants to buy our house. The realtor we bought from keeps emailing us like selling sounds nice until we don't have anywhere to live because the markets are shit. Yeah, this is clearly not the best time to be buying or selling property either, regardless to which country you live in. So it's all none of it is a sensible move. The only reason me and Mrs. Manthias have decided to do such is for the fact that we now both work from home. And there's just not enough space for us to both comfortably work from home. Nothing more or nothing less. When you need more space, you need more space. Yeah, it's my CPU that keeps touching 100%, which is not surprising really, considering I'm streaming as well. So that only goes to clarify my thoughts that it's time for an upgrade. I'm hoping for a good apartment discount on Black Friday. Unfortunately, Black Friday doesn't necessarily stretch as far as buying and selling property, but that 40% tax on rental income can be a pain in the ass, but there's very, very simple ways to get around that. Now, I don't totally know how that works in your situation personally, but considering you only get taxed on the profit, just make sure you don't make a profit. Even if it means switching your mortgage on the property to a ridiculous mortgage, but just make it so that the rental property is just practically paid for by somebody else. I've made that sound a lot simpler than it actually is, but it's what we did with our apartment a few years ago. What's the in-game FPS thing? Is it Shift and R? No. Control and R? Yeah, Control and R. There we go. Yeah, not even a stable 60 FPS. This is my problem with beta. Now, I don't know if this is a beta problem, but I'm not particularly a fan of playing any video game on a PC at 1080p at less than 60 FPS. That in 2022 is painful. I wonder if actually pulling all of these at once is sensible. It's probably not, is it? I'm at a stable 144 FPS with G-Sync on the beta. Well, yeah, but your PC's a monster compared to mine. Right, 83%. Let's kill a few more of these dudes. 6 minutes until we level, by the looks of things. If we can get a ding sorted out, if we can ding level, what will that be? 67. Oh, slapped by something. Alright, let's kill you nice and quick first. Do you think it's worth legally multi-boxing 5 gatherers at Dragonflight launch, considering you're already a boxer? Probably not. Probably not. But my opinion on this hasn't changed since they made those multi-boxing changes. Whether it's against TOS or not is irrespective. Because you are still an absolute magnet for reports. You're a magnet for false reports if you multi-box. Now, you can argue that that's unfair, and it is. But the point is that people don't like multi-boxers, and they'll report you just for multi-boxing. You're an absolute magnet for false reports. And if you absorb enough false reports, you're going to get banned automatically by the system. It's the harsh reality, but it's the reason why I cannot, in good faith, recommend anybody multi-box. Because you're putting yourself in the firing line, whether you like it or not. And for the sake of making a bit of gold from gathering, it's probably not worth having your account banned, to be honest. Because truth be, if you are, if you're a content creator, or you have some sort of audience, or, you have some sort of, if you're in a reasonable position, you might be able to overturn a false ban. But I imagine there's an awful lot of people that get false bans and then are just fucked. Because, they don't have a platform. They don't, they don't have any way to shout and scream and say, oi, this is, wrong. So, yeah, I wouldn't recommend anybody do it. What do we still need? A couple of more pylons marked. Just fish. You can put each character in different spots. I'm not even really a fan of promoting loopholes. Even I just don't It's one person's opinion, but I really do not think it's worth in any way, shape, or form. I don't know. Call me a job's worth, call me a goody two shoes, whatever you want, but I just genuinely don't think it's worth the risk. I certainly wouldn't recommend streaming any of it either. That's a recipe for disaster. Oh, we dinged! I didn't even notice. Check me out. Do we want to go kill that rare? Where's the fellow we're meant to be killing? Back out here. Let's stick to the task at hand. I am clearly getting some serious frame rate issues here, though. That's how we know Mantheus will never sell his millions for a private jet. If at any point I ended up with enough millions to be able to afford a private jet, I'd probably consider it, but that's not happening anytime soon. Is this dude up my ass for a reason? He is. Go away. Okay, something's clearly changed. Now we're maintaining like 55, 60 FPS. Alright, the beta's probably just clearly not very well optimized. What are we doing here? Why am I here? Slaying this dude, maybe? Probably not. Hang on, what are we doing here? Stormbreaker. World Quest gear's 356 the second you ding. What's our 343 gear good for then? Is it 356 the second you ding? I'm not sure. There is a few weird and wacky things with the item level bandings. on crafted gear still. I don't know if they're going to fix it or whether they'll just, you know, ignore it. But the Titan, what do you call them? The Titan mark things seem basically these Titan training matrices seem totally pointless. Absolutely pointless. None of these really seem to make any benefit apart from the fourth one. But, you know, something in the game doesn't strictly always need to make perfect sense, because if it helps one person get a slightly better piece of gear, sure. Check if you have ray tracing enabled by mistake. That tanks the FPS a lot for a little bit of shininess. I don't know if I have got ray tracing switched on. I usually don't have it bothered. I don't bother having ray tracing on because I'm usually streaming and it doesn't work via streaming. Oh, I do have ray tracing on. Well, let's turn that off for now. See if that makes much of a difference. Oh, I do notice now I've turned it off, though. It's one of those life luxuries that you're like, ooh, it looks a bit flat now. Oh, well. Sign after sign to get a 4090. Those things are unnecessarily expensive where I live. I don't think you can buy a 4090 for less than 2,000 euros in Finland. It's for that same 2,000 euros, I could probably build an entire PC. Do they still mount cables? Probably. What do you mean absolutely not? Try again. Just do the things. What? Oh, then take the feather. This quest is confusing. It'd be less confusing if I was paying attention. The cables still melt GPU ports, yes, but it's clearly the cable issue. Well, isn't it something to do with the fact that these new shiny 4090 graphics cards, they power spike so aggressively? Don't they now have a system integrated so that they can directly talk to your power supply? But the problem is power supply manufacturers haven't caught up with this properly. And so retrofitting a 4090 onto an old power supply where the graphics card can't communicate directly to the power supply is causing power spikes, which is melting cables, which is just actually batshit crazy. That goes to show that these things are consuming far too much electricity. Far too power hungry. It's a good time to buy 3070s, I bet. All the miners are selling them all. A good time to buy them second hand. 4090 doesn't even fit in most cases either. Thing's a monster. Yeah, sure. I'm still happy with my 3060 Ti. That will do its job fine for a while. I've got no reason to upgrade just yet. The new ones are too big, they're too expensive, they're too you know, they're just too everything. The 4070 I might contemplate when it comes out, if it comes out at a reasonable price. Do we not have another campaign quest? Oh, is that the final campaign quest over here then? Ah, okay, nice. In the Halls of Titans. What the hell was that? And how did we manage to do that quest? How did we manage to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? How did we manage to do the 6th quest? That doesn't make any sense. Okay. Alright. Well, this is starting to feel like a opportune moment to maybe call it there for today, boys and girls. I still want to put together a little video on the work orders, on the changes for work orders, because I think considering I gave them such a hard time to begin with, it's valid to keep people updated for sure. My character's bugged right after hitting level 70. I get disconnected the second I log in. Oh, keep your fingers crossed it's not bricked. You'll need a 5090 Ti in 2 years when Ashes of Creation drops and you realise your economic gaming needs... Well, yeah, maybe. We'll see. We'll see. It is Friday, though. There's no real strict streams over the weekend. Monday will be the next streaming day. Although, due to house situations, my streaming schedule next week is also ridiculous. I'm out the house for probably 2 days next week, which will limit my ability to stream. I can still keep up with YouTube stuff, but I do apologise for the regular stream viewers at the moment that things are a little bit wacky, a little bit all over the place. Not as strictly routine as I would like them to be, unfortunately. But you know, now's the time to get this stuff out the way so when Dragonflight launches, we can just go for it, right? That's the plan of action, at least, anyway. So, have yourselves a great weekend. Thank you all for joining. If you haven't already, hit that follow button. Maybe consider going and checking out the YouTube if you haven't already. There's a good chance most of you have come from the YouTube anyway. But have a good weekend, boys and girls. Enjoy it, and I'll catch you all on Monday. Peace. Oh, is there anybody online? Can we sling you anywhere? Is there anybody up and available? Who's online right now? Is there anybody really online? My online list is not very full of people. I guess there's not too many people on, is there?
Glad to see me. Both, I hope.
Mr. GM has logged online like literally 3 seconds ago. Maybe we'll send you Tomcat's way today, I reckon. We'll send you Tomcat's way. Tomcat, for reference, is the add-on creator for Tomcat Tours. I guess you could claim it to be the competitor for Handy Notes, but I presume he's probably doing some bits and pieces, so go say hi to Tomcat. I'll send you all over there for today. But have a good one, boys and girls. I'll catch you all on Monday. Peace.